Coming? I don't even know if he's coming.
I don't know.
It is live.
The liveliness.
Well, hello. What are you? You're an XNAT Desmo. XNAT Desmo, and I am. We got XNAT Desmo in the house. We have a hipster Xmo Desinat in the house, and Taint Augustine.
So,
Taint Augustine.
that was a typo. I'll have to change it. But I don't know if you realize it, but it's a never-ending joke. It's the funniest thing ever. Did you know that anywhere that it says saint, you can just change it to taint?
Whoa.
You know, like your gooch, the part between your balls and your butthole.
You
taint,
can just do that?
And it never, ever, ever gets old. Even if you do it like
just
13 times a day.
It's never gotten old on you?
Not a single time. Never. Not once, ever.
Have you considered a TikTok career?
A career in parody. A career in karaoke, maybe, perhaps.
Yeah.
I think you would need to go incognito if you did that. Like use some sort of, I don't know, avatar or something. Because it'd just be too funny for the whole world.
Yeah.
We got 3, 4, not many people piling in yet, but we'll wait and see. Desnat and Xmos. I got slides listed for that. I don't know how much I want to keep picking that fight, but
you don't have to say that much about it. It's all, I mean, it's kind of amazing how long it went on for.
Well, it's one of those situations. I heard somebody describe it afterwards is that they just keep saying stupid thing. And then after a while, you realize they're just trying to egg you into saying something stupid back. And that's really all that's going on.
Yeah, no, I think that, yeah.
We can watch the video, though, because it's hilarious.
Hilarious?
Hilarious. Did you watch the song?
I think I watched like the first bit of it. Like, it's like, okay, I get it. You don't have to go, like, yeah, I think I got through the first bit, then the first part of the chorus. And once you've heard that, you know the whole song.
No way. Did we lose Jared? Has he got bad internet?
Oh, maybe he's just a bad person.
That could be part of the problem.
Yeah.
We're all trying to not be so bad. Did you taint off?
The typo was bugging me and I couldn't figure out how to do it without.
Oh, I thought that was on purpose. I wouldn't have thought otherwise. Share the screen. Let's listen in. So this is a cultural hall, and he made a video.
You can't show him because then people are gonna know I stole this really, really hilarious joke.
They won't debate me on that subject, but you're just name calling people. Am I totally tainted?
Now Jake knows he doesn't want to stay. He wants to.
So you don't think that guitar is him doing that?
When where he like half-ass kind of
does like a power chord.
Get away.
Something. I don't. But you said that maybe he like just takes those off the internet. But I saw that he had guitars in the background of his Mormon News Roundup.
On this one, I think it might be him because it's the same stupid clip. But a lot of them you can tell it shows the faces and it's other people.
Leaders are not right, and he thinks love is to hate. But I'm sorry, you're just a thoughtless taint. Once was hatred free. Now he copes and sees.
Some of these jokes just don't even fit. What does he mean? Once he was hate-free.
What's that?
Well,
like, what does he even mean? Like once he was hate-free.
I don't know.
This is the thing that, like, Norm Macdonald famously talked about how, like, in order to do a good parody of somebody, you have to like that person.
Yeah.
Like, you can, like, I think that Jacob is a gigantic jackass, but he's a nice guy. Like, if you think that this has anything to do with hate, like, you're just a fucking retard.
Yeah, I don't think Jacob's a jackass at all, but that's my opinion.
I love John DeLynn. Kind of called me a bigot.
Don't touch me, taint. You think you're thoughtful, but you ain't. When they say
So
See, a lot of this, oh my god, this offended me comedically so badly because
it's really weak.
none of these jokes have anything to do with Jacob. Like, if you want to do the thoughtful taint joke, it's okay. Taint isn't exactly, it doesn't flow off the tongue. It's a funny enough word, I guess, but you gotta do it once at the
you gotta,
most, and then, but like,
or
tie
maybe
it back
even
in
like
some way and make jokes that are about Jacob specifically. This guy clearly saw like one thing Jacob ever did, and he's like, oh, Saint rhymes with taint, and he doesn't like gay people. That's it.
Oh,
That's the only thing I know about him.
It's paint by numbers.
Because the rest is filler. You could make him funnier Mad Lib.
They have just a preset idea. Like, the people who are critical of us are all these things. They're hateful. They hate gays, and they're uneducated. You know, whatever it is, just fill in the stupid blank. Like, that's all they're doing.
Yeah. Well, at the end of it, he puts on Steve Pinecker, and Steve Pinecker says some people call Jacob Henson a bigot. But then if you listen to 16 seconds more of the clip, he says, but I don't think that, you know. And I clipped to them the extra 16 seconds, and one of them said they wouldn't watch it. Although he was accusing me because, like, Jared and Christopher started just chiming in and stuff. Because what we did is just come in and say, hey, thoughtful saints, thoughtful taint, cultural hall, cultural balls.
It was so funny.
So then he started making fun of my beanie and all that stuff. So now I'm going to sell this beanie right here, the cultural balls beanie, and got some little balls right there.
Oh, you put a nutsack on it. I didn't see that.
Yeah, there's a nutsack back behind the. That's his actual logo, and I just put balls on it. But
oh wait, his logo has a nutsack on it?
No, I put the balls on
you
it.
Put
That's
the
where
balls...
the comedy comes in.
Okay.
You see, like before it said hall.
Yeah,
and then I thought balls.
And then you changed it to balls as in like testicles, right? That's
and
what you're
balls,
talking about.
Balls rhymes with hall, but it's you know, it's not plural. The other one was plural. But that's
you pluralized it, but that's okay.
But his was saints and turned it to taint. It wasn't taints. So I figured no harm. You know.
Yeah. No, that's the funniest thing I've ever seen anyone do right there is cultural balls.
But I picked up the way to do it, and I think I got down there a little bit. But so that's hilarious by me. It's a balls.
It's funnier because balls is more, again, it flows off the tongue and it's more widely used. So, this is me just getting nitpicky, but I'm like, taint just isn't a funny enough or well liked enough word to use as often as you do. If his name rhymed with like nutsack, that'd be funnier, but it doesn't.
Yeah, so it just turned into this big long Twitter flame war where a bunch of people were super stupid, acting like I said some things like people leave for cultural reasons, and they flipped out that I said that. And then they said, do you think everybody just leaves for cultural reasons? I said, no, everybody's a monolith, totally. And then they started posting that again and again and again like it wasn't sarcastic. They thought that I really said everybody's a monolith, totally, seriously. And some other stuff, but they were probably just trying to flame me. And I noticed that guy that was posting it, I looked at his thing and it says Cult News. And you know how he accused me of using alts? I was wondering, like, wait a minute, maybe that's an alt, because who's doing Cult News? But
of course
I don't know for sure. But the one thing I can say for him is that he liked and laughed at stuff. Like, if you know, anybody who can kind of, like, I've always said, if we're here to play blood sports and you're in for blood sports, if you don't take offense, I'll give you props. You know what I mean? If you laugh at the stuff coming back at you and that sort of deal. I didn't laugh at the stuff you did, but that's just because I guess my funny bone's just broken or something. But you know, no harm, no foul if you can take what you dish, I guess. You know what I mean? In some sense.
Your funny, but I'll tell you what, your funny bone is definitely broken if you can't laugh at somebody calling Jacob a taint 17 times an hour.
He had all those like
problem is you
of how Jacob looked and all that stuff, and boy oh boy, you know, it was funny stuff. I made some stuff too, like, you know, there's that. I found like this AI image of what Beavis might look like, and oh wait, who's that right there? That was him on Mormon News Roundup. But you know, it's all fun and friendly. But that was just a big long waste of our week a little bit there, just kind of going back and forth with that guy for his hilarious video. In the midst of all this wild stuff happening, how much you guys been following about Putin and Tucker?
Is the interview out? Have they released it?
Thing.
Yeah, they released it just like a couple hours ago.
I felt like I had to watch the whole thing fast because I don't know if it's going to be censored. It probably will be off YouTube pretty soon. But.
Yeah, I'm curious about it. Like, I don't know. How'd that go? What did you watch it?
Yeah, it's mostly Putin does a lot of dodging questions and stuff like that. He wants to like explain why Russia's doing what it was. So he goes like back and just tries to explain 100 years of history.
Yeah, Jared sent this meme about it. I'll pull it up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's this meme here. When I'm in a land acknowledgement competition and my opponent is Putin.
Yeah.
And that's the whole
that's what it was.
Hour, 45 minutes. He's just going through
it. Just made me laugh to think of like how a lot of these arguments are employed by lefties and how they would they would have that Squidward face if they realize.
But one of the things that he talks about that is true, and I've seen so much debate about this back and forth, is was the West provoking them at all? Was UN encroaching? NATO encroaching over the years? Mm-hmm. And I don't think you can lie about that. I mean, it's just true that NATO was encroaching and moving closer and all that.
Oh yeah, they did keep doing things that they said they wouldn't do. They broke promises.
And Tucker,
it's not hard to. This is what's so funny about it is like, you know, for my entire life, I've heard all of my Democrat friends talk about how shitty and evil America's foreign policy is, and that all they do is fuck with people. And then if Putin comes out, it's like, well, yeah, America's been fucking with us for the last 30 years, and all of a sudden the Democrats are like, well, that's insane. That can't be true, right? That can't be right. You know, but it's like, because like, again, we're not here to justify anything Putin did, but like not everything that he lists as a complaint is valid. Like some of that stuff, you know, like I watched this thing that he put out like when the war started. He put out that like little 30-minute message, basically like why I did this war. And like one of the things he mentioned that is absolutely true is that like, you know, because like we had 9/11 and like, and the whole world was behind us and we had the coalition of the willing and all that crap. But like Russia fought their own freaking terror war, and the West basically just left them alone to just deal with it, you know. And that's one of the things Putin brought up. He's like, you know, like that's true. That's kind of how that went down.
That's another thing he brought up. He used the word denazification.
Yeah,
he talked about like what we're trying to do with Ukraine is get rid of Nazis.
Mm-hmm. And he's also not wrong about that.
I know there's Nazis there, and that's just the funniest thing is that there's a bunch of people fighting a bunch of fake Nazi, like a bunch of people here saying don't say bad things or you're a Nazi and I'm going to fight you, and then there's an actual front where actual real Nazis are being fought. Yeah. I'm not even. I don't know. I don't like war. But
when the war broke out, and I saw something about Nazi. And like, you know, and then like NPR or something like, and they're like crazy right wingers are talking about Nazis, you know, and I just immediately just went straight to Wikipedia, and like first thing is Azov Battalion. It's like Azov Battalion is a neo-Nazi military organization. Like, oh, okay, like just saying right there, you know.
What's that Russian say right there?
Well, I actually did it wrong. I did mutoj, but it was supposed to be namtoj. I'm pretty sure it's just us two.
Yeah,
us too. That's yeah.
You made that one?
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. So he talked about Tucker wasn't just a sycophant. Tucker asked him some tough questions, like, "Isn't it enough? Don't you have enough space? Can you back down now? Aren't you worried about killing people? You know, all that sorts of stuff."
Yeah, he didn't go super easy on him, and there was the one question I really wanted him to get answered was like, "Why didn't you bring this up 20 years ago?" I wanted to hear his answer, and he clearly was trying to avoid it, or it was lost in translation. And Tucker didn't let it go either. He asked like 3 times.
Why now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Let's see. We got Risto lighting up a stogie. What's going on in the Soggy Brothers?
What stogie? That sounds
Didn't
good.
even watch the drama. Which drama? There's been so much drama. There was a lot of drama this week. We had the Jubilee thing. We're going to talk about that maybe most of the time. And then there was also the stuff where Delin was forced into an apology. Right underneath all of that, I got a clip of Jim Bennett when his Trump derangement syndrome, and what else is out there? A bunch of
Carl
little clips about
Weathers.
Carl Weathers. Yeah, poor Carl Weathers. We were just showing the meme of Carl Weathers' his arm. Hansen chickened out. No, he did not chicken out. From what I have heard, Delin is ghosting Hansen, and
I believe it.
I don't think he would chicken out, because I talked to Jacob when he first reached out to Delin, and I've never ever seen Delin say this. He said, I would prefer, because Jacob told him, I will fly myself out there, and Delin said, I would prefer it be remote.
Yeah.
Like, I know what you're wanting to do. I know you're wanting to get him to say something bigoted, and then be like, I just cannot in good conscience continue to platform such a hateful bigot, and then kick him off.
Grandstand for an hour for
and then grandstand and
make sure that the super
and then
chats
Jacob
are
would
coming
definitely jump into the chat, and even and then he'd be like, I can't accept your money. I will, because he's
well,
all
you can't
about
even do that. They shadow ban in 10 seconds over there.
Yeah.
I'm totally shadow banned.
No, I think like if that happens, that has to happen in person.
Yeah.
I know, and live.
But one of the things that Delin is very, very good at, as we know, is that he's not ever going to be actually on the hot seat. And that's another thing that happens with this Jubilee thing, which I kind of don't know why those guys agreed to it. But once again, the entire setup is we will be on the hot seat. And first off, I mean, I've mentioned before that if you're on the hot seat, it's always tough. It's always hard, no matter what position on earth you're defending. But the Mormons just walk right into it again. That we'll just dissect Mormonism here, and we won't look back at anything else. And I think, in my opinion, there's a bunch of post-game discussion on it from both sides, and they both spiked the football. And if you ask me, it didn't go too well for the Mormons. That's my opinion. But we'll be looking at it a little bit. Which countries have the most Nazis
right now?
I don't actually know.
Probably might be Ukraine.
Bean Brigade Bandit
logging in. Oh yeah, Christopher got called a Beanie Brigade person for just chiming in on the Twitter.
Beanie Brigade?
The Twitter, yeah, because he
said
that
the Beanie Brigade.
You told us they were socks. I thought you were saying I was a sock. Yeah, I got confused when you chimed. Sear Stoner was in there too, but I was a little bit confused.
Wait, are you saying that they were They were all socks of what's his face? Cultural balls.
Well, Sear Stone is a sock, and Sear Stone, the sock is saying the socks are socks. But yeah,
I don't know. I got a little confused in there, but I mean, just because who was talking and when and who I was arguing with, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, where should we go to? Peter Boghossian used an Uchtdorf argument. Did you guys hear that?
Yeah, well, no, you told me about it. I didn't listen to it though.
I got a clip of it. I'll fold it up real quick.
That's just a little wild.
Yeah.
Did he say that he was using an Uchtdorf talk, or did he?
Well, he said the Mormons. Here, we'll listen.
Oh shit!
Right here. Yeah, I was like, "What planet are we on here?" Yeah.
Funny.
Here comes. Present, share screen. Why critical thinking is dead.
Responsible to change your mind when presented with something. And so there's a famous thing from Mormons about doubting your doubt. This idea that you should doubt your doubt because it makes you a better person. So if you want to promulgate or promote certain values in the society, the best way to do that is through a moral means, other than, of course, kind of create a fascist architecture or some kind of overarching institutionalization of principles. But
Jonathan mentioned this one to me, and I thought he was just kind of saying, it's kind of the general thing. I didn't know he was quoting directly the Mormons. Doubt your doubt. Pretty funny, eh? There's also this thing where a school board representative lady, I guess, tried to out a trans basketball player, and now she's getting forced to
I
resign
mean,
in
out.
Utah.
Like,
Well,
that's not an outing, is it?
It sounds
I
like
don't
she just
know.
guessed, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
It looks
the
like
basketball player isn't actually trans, right?
Yeah. So anybody confirmed? Like, just
Nobody's confirmed, and I've looked at all the stuff. Nobody will say outright.
Like, well, it's just
Yeah,
funny.
I don't
'Cause,
know,
like, why would that be a secret? Like, the whole point is that it's nothing to be ashamed of. So why are we treating it like, oh, you can't just go and say, like, I mean, that's the thing. Seriously, like what if it was a straight person? Would anybody say like, hey, you can't just mention their sex like that? Why not? That's not ever been considered personal, private information.
Well, I don't even know if
It's
I don't even know
weird.
if she's trans. I think she might
Yeah, I
just
don't know.
be a
Like,
dude-looking girl.
yeah, she might just have a very unfortunate haircut.
So here it is saying that she outed the person, and it's a minor. Although I don't know why it's a minor, because this stuff is advertised out in the world. It's advertised out on Facebook. They have it all blacked out like it's like some minor thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm going to show the person because I don't care, because these guys, you can find it on their website. You can find it on their other stuff. And I think they're kind of playing at it goofily there. But that's what the person actually looks like. And you could see why some people were questioning it. But at the same time, some pile-on, I could see why a pile-on would be a bit of trouble.
It's a tacky thing to do for sure. I know this is one of those things where it's like, it's tacky. We should say, look, lady, that was lame. Don't act like that. But like the people are acting like, I mean, the whole, we're putting a student at risk. We're threatening their safety. Like, oh, come on.
Well, it's just a thing that you can see it was easily pounceable. It's easily pounceable to use politically to get the lady to resign. And now she's getting calls from her own side to resign over it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I saw that. Governor Cox.
Yeah.
He says that she's an embarrassment. I think she's just a little bit overzealous or something. I don't know, because like I don't know why you're gonna look at a picture of like a butch. Like, I mean, how rare is it that a female athlete is butch and lesbian?
Yeah. Who ever heard of such a thing?
Yeah. I don't know. But they probably should have watched out for creating some flame war on the kid. But
yeah.
Now they're stuck with it. James Lindsay was on with CWIC.
Yeah.
We all watched that, and Flip pulled out that he described Dan McLellan. He probably doesn't know who Dan McLellan
is. Yeah.
You don't have to know Dan McLellan to know what he is.
It's what we've always been saying, that this stuff is it's a rule book, it's a playbook, and here it comes right here. We got this full blast.
The real dividing line here, to put it theologically, and then I'll kind of
different one.
And
he said that's the thing where he says the line is people who know they're not God should form an alliance.
Oh yeah,
that's it. What's the thing he says is
what's that?
Yeah, the specific where he says something about like these people think that, what is it, like that you literally create reality and that they should be allowed to, or you structure knowledge or whatever it is, and they should be allowed to because they're morally superior, basically, something like that. He says it better than that.
Yeah, right.
That is what
it's so hard to get your head around the.
Yeah,
this is it. Yeah, here we go.
It's so hard to get your head around the idea that your average functionary in this worldview believes everything is pretend, but they have better values than everybody else, so they get the right to pretend instead of anybody else.
Yeah, there we go.
That's
Dan McLellan.
That's what we've been saying about McLellan.
Like do we have that? I don't know if you pulled it up some ages ago, but the other Chris, when he's responding to McLellan saying something about like, everything's just a construction, and he says like, so is this, and McLellan responds with, yes, but I'm informed, which is him just saying like, well, yeah.
And we asked him like,
I get to, because
he says all of his opinions are formed off of data, and we said even your political ones, right? And he says yes, they are.
Oh, you said something about, he said he has no bias.
Here, I'm
saying. You said except for your political bias, to which you replied, no, I have no political bias. It just so happens that all of my political opinions are based on fact.
Yeah.
Which is like, okay, sure. There you go, from the horse's mouth.
But I mean, there really is no other way to view the stuff that he says. Is he thinks it's all pretend, it's all just this or that and the other. Although he'll pull on the intent of the author, which we noticed there was a bunch of stuff about intent of the author in Delenn's apologies this week. So intent of the author is back on the table this week, guys. But he'll say all that it's all just pretend. But when you have my proper values, we can renegotiate it for our ends. Yeah. I've got a bunch of little clips kind of this week. I was clipping some stuff all over. I got a few of Kwaku in a lot of places talking out of both sides of his mouth this week. But here's a funny one first. Listen to this.
Everyone goes, are you an alpha or are you a beta? They don't realize those are not the only two archetypes.
Oh, okay.
So you've got the Sigma, which is the I'm not even in this system. The Alpha is the guy who the girl has the top Snapchat score with. The Sigma is the guy who refuses to even Snapchat her and only calls her FaceTime.
Oh, so you're saying
step off the chessboard. I'm not even playing.
So okay, so you're saying the
Sigma
alpha
sound hot.
Did you Sigma sound hot?
Guys, look up the Sigma male grind set.
Oh, and by the way, I'm totally Sigma.
Absolutely,
completely.
Oh, so
to me, and they say, "I'm not an alpha. I'm a Sigma." No, you're not. If you're calling yourself a Sigma, you are not a Sigma. The act of calling yourself a Sigma disqualifies you from being a Sigma.
Whoops.
Somebody else has to do it. It's like humility in Mormonism. Yeah. Calling yourself, you can't call yourself humble and be humble.
Yeah. I've always been somebody who says beast mode. Like you can't say you are in beast mode. Somebody else has to say you're in beast mode. You can't announce that you're in beast mode. That's one that drives me nuts. The biceps of the chick, the thing is like she could totally transing the other way and be on some sort of tea or something too. I mean, who knows? Although I got accused of being on roids this week too.
Don't you get accused once a week?
Yeah. I promise everybody for how much I lift, if I would be on roids, you would see me looking like The Rock everywhere. I'm way too under 200 pounds to be on roids. And I am I've lifted forever. I lift heavy, but whatever. So now James Lindsay knows about, he was just describing Dan McLellan because what we've been describing about Dan McLellan is just how those blue church missionaries function. We know that's how they function. Well, I mean, that's ultimately the goal of Foucauldian history, describing stuff. Everything's just been a game, but we'll play our game because we have the right values. So the postmodernism is everything's just pretend game, words, history, culture, whatever, and it's all meaningless and nothingness. And who cares what's care? Oh, but wait a minute. Now we will insert an overarching theme or method or idea, and it's that our morals are correct. It says describe McData to a T. Yeah, he can describe that without even knowing McData.
He's an archetype.
Yeah.
It's an archetype. Well, I mean, it's a functionary, like you said. It's what people are trained to become. I was trained to become that, and I said no, just like I guess I did the Mormon stuff. But but that's our lives. One more thing, kind of that was kind of just dunking on the Quakers Alpha Sigma stuff. But I don't know if he was totally serious about that anyway.
I think he was just joking around there.
But I did want to point out something that Kwaku's been on about on his Twitter, because lately he's been kind of on a critical race theory kick on his Twitter, which is kind of juxtaposed to how he talks on Midnight Mormons. And I pulled up something he said in Jubilee, and this isn't going into the Jubilee thing. This is just kind of pulling out that thing on its own of what Kwaku says about George Washington as opposed to what he says about Mormon leaders,
Yeah.
I've got the two clips. I'm almost there. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, George Washington is not fallible, right?
Well, there's also I mean, this just rings the bell that I wanted to just point on.
Brigham Young is fallible.
When Carden says Brigham Young got the idea to be racist from Protestants, like, God damn it, Carden, you jackass.
Wait,
Well, they've been saying that one
where
for a
did they
while.
get it from?
Come on.
They've been saying that for a bit.
Yeah,
Brigham
no,
Young
like,
was just like a pussy follower.
yeah, no, but it's one of those things he brings up all the time, which is like, that is just such a stupid thing to say, Carden. You really need to drop that one, but like he won't. It's like every time, like we brought it up before, every time he brings up archaeologists and says, the only reason that archaeologists don't believe the Book of Mormon is because they think that primitive people were too stupid to invent steel. And you're just like, no,
Yeah,
that's not.
so stupid.
It's not the argument, Carden. Like, you need to stop. You got to drop that one. That's a terrible line.
There are new arguments, though, it feels like, some of that stuff, and saying like you guys are the actual racists and that sort of deal. But here's a Kwaku on George Washington.
I'm going to be real clear. I'm going to be real clear. George Washington sucked. If you human traffic people, you're a bad person. It's so simple. I'm a very simple guy. He was human trafficking and torturing people, over 200, over 300 people. He destroyed their lives, their family lineage, their freedom. They never got to fully express and understand what it means to be a human in this world because he was a satanic, selfish piece of garbage that robbed people's humanity. And he did it by threat of torture or death. He was a horrible person. And I don't care how much good he did. Like, if Jeffrey Epstein had saved the Amazon rainforest, I don't care because he still brought kids to an island and diddled them. If you are a human trafficker, I don't like you, and I will never honor you, and I will not teach my kids to honor you. I think you are fundamentally evil and satanic. And
that's enough of it, right? I mean, he keeps going for a while.
Yeah,
But,
that's screwball. Well, just like, don't read the Old Testament, Kwaku.
well, then you got this that came down in the Jubilee stuff.
One does. I look at some of the things our church leaders said, David O. McKay, right? Brigham Young, Joseph Fielding Smith. I know they weren't, singing Kumbaya with black people. I get that. I totally get that. But at the same time, I understand that people are also products of their environment. And I don't want to condemn someone who's not here to defend themselves. And in the same way, 100 years from now, someone will look at us and they'll say, oh my gosh, I can't believe you guys were using your Cobalt iPhones built by child slaves. Please don't deny my humanity 100 years from now.
Well,
so wait, we saying that it's not all right for George Washington to condemn a person to a lifetime of servitude, but it's all right for Brigham Young to condemn them to a lifetime of an eternity of not celestial kingdom?
Yeah, it's one thing on Twitter and another thing on War Radio.
Yeah.
Lately with Kwaku especially. But although sometimes I wonder that because this Jubilee thing was dropping, and I guess it's also Black History Month, he felt it was time to really kind of signal his bona fide leftyism on there, because he's been going off on real racist history and this isn't just CRT and all that sorts of stuff.
Real racist history with Kwaku. That's kind
real
of
racist history. But then during that same month,
double entendre.
there is that in that same month, just given every apology that everybody who calls Desnat ever gave for George Washington or Robert E. Lee or whoever right there. What's right or what's wrong? I don't know. Sometimes with me, it's just kind of like with all this stuff, it's just be consistent. Be consistent. Be consistent. Which comes up with kind of some other stuff. I mean, I'm not going to make like a huge thing of it here, but I was pointing out on Thoughtful Saints and all that sorts of stuff.
Taints.
Dang it. I missed the joke.
Yeah.
The way that John DeLynn equivocates about calling the Mormon Church a cult or not. And
that was such horse shit.
Yeah.
Just every single time it gets brought up, he tries to act like the nice guy. Be like, "Ooh, and I don't like to call Mormonism a cult." And then he just immediately gets on Jubilee and he's like, "Yeah, they fit the definition of a cult."
I try really hard to hide my smile every time I use the word cult in the sentence about the church, but I don't like it.
But ultimately, like, my point is, because when I got some pushback from Forrest and everybody about Stephen Hazan just is giving a model, and some other Mormons say that model is bad, and then the people who say that model is bad reference some other stuff from some institutions that who knows if they're the best institutions or anything like that. But I pointed out that Stephen Hassan on his own program told him that he wasn't going to make a judgment on it. He's just kind of laying out this model. And what I think Delenn has done since then, and it was on the Michael Shermer episode, as Troy pointed out, and so many other places, is that Delenn says, I'm not calling it a cult. I'm not calling it a cult. I'm not calling it a cult.
But hopefully this expert will.
Yeah, but this expert will. Yeah. So he's putting it on the expert, something the expert did not say. And then he's dodging just owning it himself. And there's a side of it, kind of just like with Quaker or something like that. If like you're going to judge people in history like that, like be consistent with Delenn, it's like just own up and say that you think it's culty. Just do that. Why don't you just do that and say that you, based off the model, think it's a cult? But you always say that it isn't, and then argue for the side that it is. And this Jubilee episode all started out with people in the affirmative stepping forward to say if it's a cult or not a cult. And Delenn and them acted shocked that Kwaku and Cardin used an argument that anything could be kind of considered a cult under that bite model, which can be true.
Yeah, they accurately brought up that Hassan called all Trump voters cultists. And it's funny because the second they brought that up, everybody in the panel's like, well, yeah, of course they are.
Yeah, he is a cult. He is a cult.
What else would they be?
Yeah. But
okay, your definition of cult doesn't fucking mean anything.
Yeah, and that's the point that Cardin and Kwaku were making, which they were correct in reading that. And I don't even think Hassan even really says differently. He kind of says everything's on the spectrum, kind of just like Jonathan's is it culty page. You know what I mean? So maybe just like look at the stuff, use the model, think how culty or not something is. Don't go using cult or not. Just like for yourself, decide is this thing kind of, because here's for me, I said this on the Midnight Mormons years ago, and I borrowed this from John Larson. Here's me borrowing from somebody who I think's a doink. John Larson said years ago he doesn't think the church is a cult, but the mission's a cult.
I said that. Oh my God, he did?
Yeah.
I have said that for years.
And I tend to agree with that too. Like the mission felt so culty, like for sure.
Absolutely. I had a checklist just called exact obedience. It was to check off all the shit you did, including waking up at 6:30 and then brushing your teeth. Like, you can't just trust me to brush my teeth. Like I gotta keep a record of it.
One of the things my mission president did that there was so much blowback from the ward, or from the members, I should say, because we generally had dinner at 6 o'clock because it was Northern California, a lot of middle class people, a lot of working moms, and just like that's just when people had dinner there. The White Handbook said 5 o'clock, so our mission president put out a things like, "Hey, 5 o'clock," and everybody's like,
"Shut
no, like what? No." And like, because the handbook even says 5 o'clock or where is culturally appropriate in your area. But like my mission president was such a bureaucratic, just paint by numbers, follow the rules guy. Like he tried to do that, but like I said, the membership lasted back. They're like, no, we're not going to be home in time. Like just let us feed them at 6. But yeah, it's just funny. Like that's how culty he was. My mission president also told me once these exact words: "Elder, if you're having fun, you're being a bad missionary."
Really?
Yes, he really said that to me.
Oh my gosh. Here's some of it.
First of all, what I hear you saying is you're not here to call the Mormon Church a cult. Is that correct?
Correct. Not here to call an authoritarian cult.
Could you?
Any group that has a passionate involvement, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, can be called a cult.
So Lynn's over here like, I paid a lot of money for this fucking soundbite, asshole.
But if you go to this Shermer interview, then he tries to like lean on this guy to say that this guy said it was. I mean, that's my contention. Oh, yeah. And then the other contention is that I think that I don't know why Delenn doesn't just want to own up and say, I think it's a cult. Like, why does he have to equivocate? Why does he say it's not a cult, but it is a cult all the time?
Nobody likes saying the things that they mean. Nobody. And that includes like the Mormons in that Jubilee thing. Like I mean, Delenn was trying to do a gotcha when he leaned over to the gay dude and he said, do you think that this woman's lesbian marriage is going to make it to the celestial kingdom? And the guy kept trying to like dodge the question and be like, well, it's more complicated than that. Well, no, it's not. Just say no. Because that's what you believe. You believe that a lesbian marriage cannot make it to the celestial kingdom. I mean, own your goddamn beliefs, you wimps.
But they all started thinking of optics, and I guess I have clips here that show in the aftermath. And I think DeLynn probably thought of optics a little bit more. Kwaku and DeLynn were on top of optics. I think Carden and some of the other guys kind of walked into it like a little bit like Leroy Jenkins, and then in the minute afterwards, they were like, oh gosh, the optics after. Like they should have thought of it before. You know,
Carden,
they don't realize those shows are about sound bites and optics.
Yeah.
So,
he's such a scamp, that guy.
Scamp.
And we'll show the slide again. Is that your point is that there's going to be groups of people that aggregate or congregate around a passion, and that's kind of what a cult is in a very general sense. It
can be a belief, it can be a passion, it can be a cause. Like former members can be, looked at as a cult.
That's just pushing along kind of Kwaku's point, and then here's DeLynn and them acting dumbfounded at what their guy said.
Why are we all annoyed by Kwaku saying, if everything's a cult, nothing's a cult? Why was that annoying to you?
Yeah, because they kind of cut that short a little bit. I think didn't even him or Carden mention like interests, like like Dungeons and Dragons is a cult, or sci-fi is a cult, Star Wars. And it was just such a joke to compare a worldwide religion that controls the underwear you wear, the thoughts you think, and then to say, oh, if you like Leia, you're in a cult. Like it was such a joke to me.
It was not comparable. It was not a comparable example at all. And so he did talk about like being in a choir or liking Star Wars, and I'm like, those don't tell you that if you aren't doing certain things, you're going to go to heaven or hell.
Yeah,
like,
whatever they can to distance themselves as far away from the word cult as far as the religion that they chose to be a part of, that's what they're going to go for.
Yeah. And those things just do not align. And so that's why it was frustrating, because it was such a downplay of like, no, we're just like a group. Like if you like Star
Why are we all annoyed?
Oh hell.
Anyway, that was all that, but who cares? Did they drop the homosexuality in Joseph Smith's Nauvoo yet? I see that.
Oh, I didn't. I was too busy watching all of the things, so I don't know. There's a lot of shit to watch today.
Yeah, there was a ton. So I watched a Nuance Hose thing on it, and
I got partway through it. Does she like reveal at the end that one girl left the church after this or something?
Yeah, they kind of do. Yeah,
she was hinting at that at the beginning, but I didn't.
At the end of it, she says that girl afterwards went to dinner with the ex-Mos and didn't want anything to do with the bro culture Mos. That's what she said.
Wait a minute, Carden annoyed somebody. I'm sorry, Carden.
Yeah,
bro culture. Carden is bro.
She mentioned that multiple times. It's bro culture. Like whatever.
Which one is that said that?
Is
that the one that
the
kept
girl
talking about
who was on
men?
the LDS side? Only everything she said was like, yeah, the women don't have equal roles. Everything, it was like she might as well have been over on the other side. Here's John talking about the optics of it.
For those who are just listening, who didn't get to see, describe the visual optics of what was so stunning about that segment, or what's.
Are men and women equal in the church? Two Mormon men step forward.
2 of the 8, right?
Yes.
2 out of 8 people.
The female on the side did not step forward. No one on the ex-Mormon side, and then Kwaku stayed back. So 2 of the Mormons, and then all of the ex-Mormons stayed back about it being equal.
And the 2 who stepped forward are
Carden and Timber.
And they are, what's their gender?
2 white men.
2 white men.
White. They always got to include that. She even did that in the episode. She kept saying white men.
It doesn't matter that Timber's a gay white man. But
I know. You cannot uncouple those things. Like you cannot go a second without being like, oh, and he's also white. We gotta remember that.
How could they even step forward as 2 men and say, let's
talk
tell all the
first.
women in the room.
So that they could
why
fill the
men and
room
wo-
with benevolent sexism.
Super cringe, right?
Yeah.
Is the internet going to blow up over that one?
I hope so.
I hope, but just to see them going forward and being like, we'll tell you what women think. Like, oh, I wouldn't even dare.
No, it's why it's equal for women.
Yeah.
So they're just thinking of optics. Like nobody's thinking of like how it's supposedly a place where we're having discussions and ideas, right? But no, it's just optic land.
Oh, they are
You know?
just.
I do feel bad because Cardin looked bad, but like I guess in his defense, he was wanting to have like a long form kind of
he thought it would
nuanced
be a long
discussion
form
or something like that because he's I don't know. I guess if you say like are men and women equal in the Mormon church, the guy that's the Mormon is gonna want to be like, okay, let's put some context around this or whatever. Because like the answer is no.
It's going to be a long explanation, yeah. And I bet you they had it, but then they just clipped it down to the sound bites, and so the Lynn goes in thinking of sound bites.
Because I mean, because this is the thing is like because first off, they're just playing hide the ball is what they're talking about. Are men and women equal in the church? No, of course not. Men and women aren't equal anywhere. Like men and women aren't the same. They're not equal. Are women oppressed in the church? That's the question you're asking.
Oh yeah.
You're using this equality thing as just a way to dodge having to actually deal with answering the question. Because like, you know, like we've talked about a lot of times, women have a lot of power in the church. And it's funny because like just because it's not like institutional power, people pretend like it doesn't exist. Where it's like, duh. Fucking duh.
Men are whelps in the church. They're pretty.
Who was it? Like it was just there was research is from a few years ago. Like the research that showed that like, you know, it was like throughout Protestant America that like women ultimately drove the policy changes and decisions, and not just with Mormons, but everything else. It's like, yeah, it's like, you know, it's men that are stamping the document, you know, whatever. But like, no, everybody knows in reality, like women's opinions hold enormous sway. You know, that's like, I guarantee if every sister in the ward, like example of when women's opinions held sway, when my mission president tried to lay down the law and change the time for dinner, it was Mormon women who said, "Fuck you." And did the patriarchy step in and say, "Excuse me, God has spoken, woman"? No,
We are patriarchy.
no, they all backed down. Really, they all, just the president, because everybody thought he was a dope. But no, he backed down. He backed down and said, "Okay, we'll do it when you want to do it." And the women said, "That's right."
Isn't that how we got a bunch of the DNCs? That's probably how we have the word of wisdom because Emma was complaining about it. Or,
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You remember when I said I know I was going to be on this thumbnail? Do you remember why I said I was going to be on the thumbnail even before it came out?
Well, okay. I want to be fair.
Do you remember why though?
Yeah. Okay. I know. You said I'm the token straight white guy, so they're gonna come mad at me.
I was the only straight pro LDS white man in that entire studio. They were hunting for that demographic. We are the token bad men of secular atheist society right now. The woke hates uniquely my demographic, Christian men that are straight, Christian cisgender men. I knew I was going to be the pro Mormon on that thumbnail, man.
Okay, now to be fair,
okay,
you did take the bait.
Of which thing?
You took all the bait they wanted you to take. Okay, so
no, they had to twist out of context of faith.
No. Here's what I mean. Here's what I mean. When they said the church treats men and women equally, I did not walk forward. I'm not going to go fight a great.
Do you remember when I said?
So that's Kwaku thinking about the optics of it more than anything. Than you know.
Yeah.
They just had like a follow up with Timber today, where the suicide thing and LGBT people were brought up multiple times, and I never heard them once push back on it.
Yeah,
and so then today they have the thing pushing back on it. What's that?
They claim that they did. Cardin claims that he pushed back on it and that they
edited it out.
Edited it out.
See, I was wondering if they just backed off that entirely because like they knew we can't try to take this on, but then we'll do it later on our own podcast or something. That's what I was wondering.
Yeah,
but,
I wonder.
So yeah, and then people even this morning, Cardin had a thing where one of his friends told him that he just dressed all wrong for the thing that he wasn't thinking it all for. And this is kind of one of my points is the whole thing was just an optic and soundbite battle, and they just weren't ready for it. Kwaku was a little bit, but I think Kwaku was there to make Kwaku look good, and maybe a little bit of the church, a little bit, but they just Delenn went in entirely. The fact that Delenn went in a hoodie and a hat, he was trying to downplay like his stuff. He didn't want to seem like a big patriarchal male, all that sorts of deal. Like he knew what he was doing coming in looking all ratty.
Definitely.
I have like a clip of when Carden kind of knew he was stepping into it too. Hold on a second here. Did you guys watch that?
I don't know.
Here it is. Hold on. Oh, dang it. I had it.
Good damn it.
Oh, talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic.
Well, you got that because of that today from BBC. Like I just took a screenshot of BBC, and the top story is Supreme Court decide if Trump can run, and then the story right below it is Putin bars opponent from running.
Oh yeah, I'll pull that up.
That was fucking funny.
Like, well, this is interesting.
How dare Putin do that? How authoritarian of Russia. Anyway, we have to make it illegal for Trump to run.
Yeah, can you imagine weaponizing the courts against your political rivals, especially the ones that have a chance?
Oh man, I love seeing.
Who would do that?
There's a great clip of Kamala Harris talking about how we need to stop Trump from running because he'll weaponize the justice system.
Yeah.
His opponents.
Oh yeah, no,
that would be terrible. We have to stop him. You're right.
Didn't we show a clip of like a supercut of that weeks ago? I think. I feel like we did. Or I think you showed us one. Yeah, I know Chris showed us something like that. It was like a supercut of, 2016, and just everybody on the left talking about how Trump was going to do exactly what they all ended up doing.
All right, here's the woman question. Watch this.
Women and men are equal in the church. Agreeers, please step forward.
Look at her.
Oh, jeez.
What was that feeling? Wasn't that the spirit
Women and men.
there? Like, if I've ever seen the spirit telling you to not do something, I think I.
No, yeah, but you should just like, because I know what he's doing. Like, he wanted to go make his case, defend it, but the problem is, like, he walked into it because, again, that question is terribly formulated.
Yeah,
because it's based on a false presupposition that men and women are supposed to be equal at just that. Men aren't women, women aren't men. They're not the same thing. Can't be equal. How to treat people fairly is an entirely different conversation. But like they just walked right into it, like, because you can't win that one.
So this was him this morning. He pulled up Jonathan's AI art here, and did you guys watch this one at all?
No.
Where'd it go? You can see it right there. There it is. Why is it not going to it?
Yeah, why is your computer being gay?
There it is. So Jonathan made that of Carden and posted it up on a thing and said you should do dodgeball. And Carden, but Carden was talking to this guy right here, and this guy told him that him showing up dressed like that was bad optics. Like him showing up in like the whole suit and all that sorts of stuff is like the tall white guy or whatever. And so then he went and dressed in the AI art that Jonathan made. So that's kind of funny. But I think people were telling him and saying, like, you guys, you know that, especially with the crowd that was going to watch that, like, Delenn and Kara, their follow-up videos on it were just spiking the football and spiking it all the way home. And I don't think they were too wrong. I just don't think it was like a great showing.
No.
I'm going to pull up nuances.
People got to quit giving Kara layups.
I know. That's what drives me nuts. But at the same time, like I said, just the setup of it was like, how did you not know the whole thing was going to go that way? So
Yeah.
this is
Well,
the
I guess they made it sound like it's going to be this middle ground, like how can ex-Mormons and Mormons compromise? But it had absolutely nothing to do with that. It was just a bunch of they were just arguing whether or not Mormonism was shitty. That was the only thing that happened.
Yeah.
Not interested in spending a second more of time with you.
Place. What was that? Dang it. Yeah, I told you about this part where like they were showing some people watching the thing, and the people watching the thing were cheering the stuff. Oh, and she also says that she thinks Kwaku's done mushrooms.
I bet he has.
Yeah. Let's see here.
I mean, lattes are the gateway drug to mushrooms, right?
Yeah. Where'd the PhD thing go? It's right here. No. She mentioned John's PhD.
Marriages? Let me just finish. It is true.
That's not true.
So I have a PhD in clinical and counseling psychology. I interviewed 1,612 LGBT.
Is it not here in the part where... Here it is. Listen. So this is the people watching it live. You can see it on the thing.
For mixed orientation marriages? Let me just finish. It is true. So I have a PhD in clinical and counseling psychology.
They cheer him just saying I have a PhD. Yeah.
Yeah, like your research isn't that good. It's self-selecting sample right there. There's a problem.
I don't want to go dig into studies, but I think I'm going to have to because I watched the Midnight Mormons thing tonight, and they had that Timber guy on it, the gay guy.
Yeah.
And he made a bunch of claims that sound a little wild to me. That like
there's studies that it's better for
he's
gays
saying
to
there's
stay in the
studies
church.
that it's better for gays not just to stay in the church but to marry women, basically.
Mhm.
I don't trust that. I don't believe it. He did
But
point
I
out
also
that
don't trust like that they say this all the suicide was for sure off because of that. I think some suicides did happen because of that.
Oh, for sure. I don't trust the ex-Mormon things that they claim. Like they put zero thought into any other variables other than just Mormon Church caused this. And he does claim, he talks about John DeLyn's study, how it wasn't a very good sample size or whatever. But like, I don't trust this dude's studies that say gay dudes get married to a woman in the church and your life is going to be better.
I've heard some people reference it before, and maybe like across certain metrics. Who knows what metrics they were looking at? But like, do you do less drugs and wild sex orgies? Maybe.
When I would listen to Christian radio, they would always have these kinds of like the Christian version of DeLynn, which is somebody who had a degree in clinical psychology, but was entirely ideologically captured. And they would do this stuff. It's like, oh yeah, my research showed this, and it's like, it's that kind of stuff. It's like, they're always terribly designed studies. It's always self-selection. It's always, dripping with problems. It's not science. It's not anything you can really point at. And like you say, because like, we can just look around. Like one of those things, we can just look around and know that like, no, like first off, the rate you guys are talking about, you're overblowing it. But also that like, oh, it's definitely because of gay church stuff. No, like I know too much about the world to know to make such a stupid and simplistic answer to such a complex phenomenon,
Well, we also know that they do this thing where they try to fudge all the suicide numbers in Utah and say the growing number of suicides in Utah are all because of the church understands some LGBT stuff. And you look at the stuff that actually pertains to LGBT stuff. I looked it up a few years ago when we were going over the Love Loud stuff, and they said it's quadrupled. And I noticed that Dan, what's his name, said it on the Daily Show. He said the number of suicide is the number one death of reason for death of youth in Utah, and the numbers going up and up and up. And teen suicides for LGBT issues have quadrupled. Well, those are different stats, every single one of those. I looked up the numbers of ones that were specifically tied to LGBT stuff, and it quadrupled from 8 to 32. And the rest of the suicide numbers are up in those thousands numbers and all that sort of stuff. But you know, maybe some of those other numbers in there were that, and we don't know for sure, but they constantly purposefully make that fudge.
My mind was blown when you were telling me some of this data.
It was crazy. He said, I just glanced at it. He was saying that the success rate for marriages, first of all, in the church, between between same-sex
an individual
marriages,
who's a same-sex attracted. Sorry, go ahead.
And a mixed orientation marriage is that actually the mixed orientation marriages last twice as long. I think he said they have twice the success rate, that they have half the divorce rate. I think he was talking about
LGBTQ youth. It was wild. LGBTQ youth are more than twice more well-adjusted, have better mental health, a better sense of community, like almost every
in the church
than they do outside. Yet the big grand narrative is about how horrible they are. And I mean, the stats speak for themselves. And I'm sure we're going to get our minds.
And where can people find those stats?
There's some great articles that are actually put out by Deseret News, who my friend Mike Goodman has done a lot of these surveys. He's written those articles, and there's other secular non-church run data that says the same thing.
I think it all depends on what you look at, but just like we've said with all the social science stuff, is like I think we could almost go find anything we want to find in social sciences.
We need to make 2 files, and that needs to go in one file. We need the Carden thinks science is good file and the Carden thinks science is bad file. Put that one in the Carden thinks science is good file.
Yeah, there's that sort of stuff, and then there's the other side of it too, where Kara and John will equivocate and then act like stuff is hardcore super science. Everybody uses it. It's just like the old quote about statistics. Like, you know, anybody can make the statistics say whatever they want them to say. It seems like anybody could make the social sciences say what they want them to say.
Oh yeah.
Here is
the replication crisis started with the social sciences, and it's a real problem. You know.
Yeah.
Sorry to tell you, John DeLynn.
Yeah. We could do like 15 different wordings of do you think that elections are rigged, and make every single demographic say that yes, they think they are.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And make every single demographic say that no, they aren't. Probably. We could do it. We could pull it off. These guys, they started pulling up this AI art that was made. And I thought it was kind of funny because they thought the AI stuff was, you know how recently some Lotus Eaters had some stuff on where AI was reclothing naked women and making them look classy and all that sorts of stuff. And this other lady, you guys posted it in the group about this lady who was mad that people were using AI to make her look like somebody made an AI of put this like as if she had a good dad, and it took her from like naked and
like, yeah, it was Ian Miles Chong posted that. Be like, AI, give this woman a relationship with her father, and then the other,
the AI like made her all dressed up nice,
her ass, and then in the other one she was thinner. She had no whiskey glass, and she was surrounded by kids and clothed.
Yeah. But so these guys are kind of like passing off that this is how AI read it. It's like they think like the optics of the AI read this stuff, and maybe nobody put these prompts in there that the Mormons were all Chads.
They probably just don't know how AI quite works, I think.
Yeah, they thought the AI discerned this, but they had this one and what other one? This one of Kwaku looking all. They said, "Oh, the AI noticed that all those other people were LGBTs, and Kwaku is a Chad." And I don't know. They just look. The AI made John DeLynn a super schlub.
That's not even Sean.
I think it's supposed to be John DeLynn. It's just that's how the AI made it. You know,
John DeLynn is a butch lesbian.
Yeah. How do we get to this? Come on, thing. This one. Come on, you guys. That got prompted.
I know, you definitely put the prompt in there. I'll give Carden the benefit of the doubt that he didn't know how AI works. But
no, the AI just sensed all this.
AI for him. Yeah,
I just could tell.
The dude that he had put AI for him put degenerate schlub DeLynn in the fucking prompt.
Yeah, it was prompted. It was prompted for 100%. But this is their optics from their side because they're spiking the football too. But I don't think that that's how the Jubilee, most of Jubilee watchers, like they were all very, very happy that they got on a channel that had millions and millions of viewers and views. But I think the majority of those viewers wouldn't have viewed it this way. That's just my guess. Well, it's not my guess. I know it.
Oh yeah.
Back to Kara. Oh, Kara. Kara. So much comedy from Kara.
She's gonna say some funny stuff.
Who's funnier, Kara or Cultural Balls?
Kara. By a lot.
That was so fast.
Yeah. You don't know how much of his fucking karaoke I watched that day.
Yeah, did you really go down that hole? It's like, yeah, for me, like I said, I heard the verse and the chorus. I'm like, okay, this is pretty phoned in.
So you watched a bunch of them?
Yeah, I found one that was like, it was okay, had some clever lyrics or whatever.
We already watched his Dan McLellan one back in the day, and Flip lost his
Yeah.
mind after it and said,
That
"You're
one was-
doing
yeah, it was
church.
terrible.
This is church. Look, it's
Yeah,
church." But one
It's
of the
just-
things about
it's my
Kwaku,
thing is good, your thing is bad. That's all he says.
one of the things about Kwaku and the optics of Kwaku is like, do you think that like how he's dressed right there, shouldn't there be a celestial smile going on right there? Or not? I don't know.
Quickie
if,
doesn't care about. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what he does. I could see him just like leaving the church within the next 2 years or so, and then once he's picked up the amount of notoriety that he can being in the church, because he doesn't really give a damn about the standards. He still does his partying. He still wears his Playboy merch.
Well, he talks about all that Gnostic Christ consciousness stuff too. He already just kind of thinks the thing that you pick is kind of,
like,
and I think it's what gets him attention.
Does he attend church? Like, what does he get out of church? Kind of Mormon that he is. What would he get out of church attendance?
I don't know. He said he wants to have a discussion with an atheist directly. Maybe you should.
Yeah, I know.
Name in the bag.
I know he's not interested in talking to me. I'm sure.
Yeah, but it gets to be.
So am I prophet?
I don't know. Are you?
If I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. Kwaku talks like somebody who's done mushrooms. Continue.
You could also find out that he basically said that. He said that on Ward Radio once.
Yeah, but also that's not.
Church is done.
Like,
good
are
in the
you?
world.
Like, you just reversed the question. That's not a mushroom thing. That's just
That
a
was
dog.
that was him trying to be like to not give an answer that was undesirable and avoid it by being
No,
funny. It was a deflection.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely. But yeah, that's what mushroom. That's a weird thing
Yeah.
to say.
Want to embrace, shake hands, hug. Whatever you guys need to do.
Group.
And then I gotta go to the bathroom.
I think it's funny because like a lot of the people on that side ultimately said that they thought that the church was a net positive, which is weird. Like at the end of it, because it seems to me
That was
one of the
weird when they
question-
said that.
One of the question marks I always have with these people, and I think Kara is actually consistent with it. She just thinks it should all burn down, and
Yeah.
at least she's consistent with that. You know, all the other people, it's like, are you infiltrating or are you destroying it? And then we also know from the critical theory side of stuff, it's we're going to infiltrate to maybe take it over or destroy. Either is fine.
Yeah, yeah, we win either way.
All right, and here's John shaking hands with Arden. Dun, dun, dun.
The thing is, like, these guys keep mentioning like how bad Kwaku and Cardin were to them, and then they're just complete internet flame war. Like, none of you guys were innocent in that. All of you said terrible things about each other 100% and pulled some crap off on each other.
Yeah.
So I heard from the cast that they cut out at least 2 questions, and one of them was like, do you think that ex-Mormons are misrepresented? Cardin said something to the effect of like, either everyone's misrepresented or no one's misrepresented, but definitely not the ex-Mormons, and went on a long rant about it. And it was another one of those moments where it's like, shouldn't we let the ex-Mormons decide how the church, who has talked about them being led away by Satan for 200 years? So if you remember, I told you I had a story about Bella, the inside scoop from the ex-Mormon crew who went down to LA to film this, told me the best thing your little ears are ever going to hear. So as you could tell, Bella was a convert and she was a little more nuanced and everything. She seemed like a total sweetheart.
Oh,
So the
she
cast
was
told me that after
nuanced.
filming was over, Cardin was acting.
It was nuanced because she didn't say anything.
So look how Cardin's dressed right there.
Oh man.
Like,
he looks like he just came home and he's telling his wife, "Give me a fucking beer."
Quick is just like
Game's
100%
on,
right there. He
bitch.
gave them all the bait that they wanted. Like, I don't know
Oh, yeah.
why you walked into it. Like, why did you do it? You know.
And like just a weird cringy guy who's trying to do like a trust fall into the group, and everyone's like, no, thank you. All right. All the ex-Mormons are huddling, and they're like, man, we need to go to lunch and go debrief about this. And they see Bella like over on the side standing there, and they're like, hey, Bella, do you want to go out to lunch with us? So if you have any question about who won this debate, Ward Radio or anything, if somebody from your own Mormon side who lives Mormonism, believes that it's true, if by the end of the podcast, she was, I won't put words in her mouth, but not interested in spending a second more of time with you guys and was like desperately excited to spend time with the ex-Mormons, I don't know, is she enticed by Satan? She's hanging out with John DeLynn and Jillian Orr. So when she was at lunch, I heard that they're all sitting around, and Bella, she didn't know who John DeLynn was. She didn't put two and two together about like Mormon Stories podcast or anything like that. And then like halfway through lunch, she's like, what's your name again? And he's like, John DeLynn, da, da, da. And then Bella like freaks out is the story I'm told. And she's like, what? You're that guy? Oh, you're John DeLynn. Holy crap. She didn't know that that's who she was doing this whole entire panel with. And sounds really cool. Sounds like you are in a good word community in LA. I was.
She won't stay.
No.
Yeah.
But whatever. What's everybody saying out there? Equal and bad. This is why I've been bored for years. Christopher. Mr. Croissant Boucher says exactly. Equality does not equal sameness. A good point. I'm not equal. Harambe boy, he was on the thumbnail because he wore the Mormon costume. Yep, 100%. And he says, I knew it. But if you knew it, why did you know it and come in and do it?
Yeah.
I mean, he was probably right about like he's the.
This is right. JD dressed as Gen Z dude. He did that on purpose. He didn't want to look like Mr. PhD. He had to announce it later to applause, like it was like a surprise. I have a PhD. That's cool, bro. He hasn't done mushrooms yet, but I'm sure Christopher Jackson or myself would be happy to help him. He said on one of the episodes that my friends do mushroom. He said it like that, but maybe he was just saying his friends.
I bet he's done mushrooms.
Yeah, but he has to. Two spouses who have their own biological kids and stay together for life and balance the family with masculine and feminine is a good thing.
He's talking about, we were getting in a back and forth over whether gay men should marry women. And
Casey says he looks like that tired primary kid. I guess he addressed that this morning. Yeah. But whatever. Anyway, I think it's kind of funny that in the middle of all this, Casey is all right. I'm going to pull some of the clips that Casey was posting because he was documenting for us the apology-a-thon that was going on right underneath all of this over in Mormon Stories for having stalked a couple of Mormons and to see, or gay Mormons, to see if they
Are they really gay? Are they really Mormon? Take the sacrament and kiss. Take the sacrament and kiss.
Later, Carol went to their house to see if they really butt fuck.
Did you fast before you butt fuck? See, here's the thing I learned from my gay friend at work is that if you're going to bottom, you need to, like, it's like surgery. It's like surgery. You're not supposed to eat for 24 hours beforehand.
That's gotta
this
be
is
so
real.
cool.
I just this is things I learned.
So here it is in the Longhouse. Apologies to Charlie Bird, Ryan Clifford, and the Mormon LGBTQ family. That's just their apology to doing that, even though they were defending themselves. We mentioned that they had a podcast, and Jonathan Streeter noticed, hey, the intent of the author was very, very in that news episode, the news episode with RFM and Bill Real and John DeLynn. They talked about it and they defended it. They defended it all the way down. His intent wasn't to stalk. It was just to find out stuff about people in their own personal lives that they didn't invite you into to tell it out on the internet. That's not stalking. But after they put out this apology, I don't know, was there anything interesting in the apology? There's stuff that he does where first he was doing Darvo stuff, like deny. What is Darvo?
Yeah, deny accuser versus victim and offender.
Yeah.
Oh, that's one thing I thought. The one thing I pointed out that I thought was funny was that, like, because John DeLynn complains like, "Hey, they totally overblew, like they completely hyperbolized what this was really all about." Then later on, like 2 paragraphs later, he's like, "And the Mormon Church hunts down queer members." Like, oh yeah, yeah, that's what they do. They hunt them down. You fucking jackass.
These guys didn't accept this apology, though. I have it somewhere here. We didn't have that in the
No,
Longhouse
it's
tape,
like,
but-
well, Disney, John DeLynn doesn't listen to us, so he knows better than to apologize to queer activists. You
Yeah.
never apologize. You can't win with them. Don't
Yeah,
ever
totally.
apologize to them.
Here it is. Update. Mormon Stories, John DeLynn and Gerardo Sumano have made a final apology on their social media page. At the end of the day, it's not my apology to accept. I have now personally spoken to Kara, Gerardo, and John. In my opinion, the first two seem far more remorseful than John did in my brief interaction with him. On that note, this quote from Troy Williams, Director of Equality Utah, is so metal, and it makes me giggle.
Metal?
In primary, Latter-day Saints children are taught the 4 R's of repentance. Do you remember how many times John's talked to the Mormons about this? The 4 R's of repentance that they need to do to repent for their past sins. He said, when you have hurt someone, you must first recognize the harm. Second, feel genuine remorse. Third, make restitution where possible. And fourth, resolve not to harm again. Mormon Stories appears to be at step 1. I hope they continue the process.
Remember that religion that we think is entirely evil and patriarchal and is structured to oppress people? Why don't you do that?
Jesus.
Yeah. Goodness gracious. That's too funny. Let's see. Are you seeing it right there? There it is. That's just the people want the references. Mackenzie Vance. I don't even know who that is. And that was in the trib. Them saying that John DeLynn doesn't apologize correctly or properly, like he's said of the Mormons so often. But I think it's kind of funny that this whole scandal was going on right underneath this whole Jubilee thing where he's I mean, when you were first watching it, Jared, didn't you say something about you were just feeling him thick with posturing or something like that?
It's just that's the whole reason he did it. It was moral posturing, and he never misses a chance to woke scold. And he was actually he was so smart about it. I'll give him that. Like it was he shut up when a woman was talking. He didn't answer the questions that belonged to him until or that ought to go to somebody of another identity group until that was time to chastise somebody else, which that is the whole woke ideal of only using your privilege to get in between the underprivileged and their oppressors. And he did that to a T. He did a pretty good job of being a douchey ally. And I mean, he got that guy cornered. I don't know. So I think the problem is that when you're having these debates, like you have to extend a certain amount of grace to the people that you're talking to, right? Like if I were talking to Cardin and we were talking about gay marriage, we're going to disagree on that. I'm going to tell him I don't think being gay is sinful and I don't think gay marriage should be illegal. I think if we're going to recognize marriage legally, any two people should be allowed to do it. And he'll bring up his leukemia thing. And to me,
oh yeah, that moment was not
to me,
a good
that's
idea.
stupid. To me, I'm like, well, but I get where you're coming from. So I'm going to argue with you using your own paradigm because
It'd be perfectly
obviously,
fine for a conversation with
Mormon-
us. It was not fine in that
Yeah,
meeting.
no, it'd be perfectly fine. But that's because I'm willing to extend you that grace. I'm willing to meet you where you are. And what you're saying is Mormons do view homosexuality as more of an affliction than just a mode of being, right? And so I'm not going to fault him for having a Mormon belief. You actually can't. That's why the Rod Meldrum interview didn't work at all, because they kept faulting Rod Meldrum for believing in the Book of Mormon, which is why they invited him there in the fucking first place.
One of the things that really bugs me about, I mean, I've mentioned it a million times before, but like all these ex-Mormons who pretend like they don't know what Mormonism was. You know, it's like, I get that you don't believe it when they like they're basically doing the equivalent of Hinckley with Mike Wallace. Like, well, I don't know that Mormons ever believe that. Like, oh, fuck you. Like, you know what this means for Mormons, you know, and like, and that's the things like the idea that like, okay, the Mormon doctrine, you can't be gay and go to heaven. But anybody that pretends that there was anything in the Mormon doctrine that says like, and also treat them badly. They're not real people. It's okay to abuse them, and if they die, that's actually a win for us. Like, no, it's only ever been about love, and the whole thing is that like everybody's given a trial. You know, like Jesus is the way, that's the redemption, all that shit. And it's like, okay, you don't believe in that. Fine. But stop acting like you don't know what Mormons actually think about this stuff. And instead substituting your dumb woke presuppositions.
They do parse that out in the Jubilee thing. They say, well, we do believe that all LGBT people go to heaven. And they're like, but do they go to the celestial kingdom?
Yeah.
And they'll say, well, there's heaven. But it's true. It is true that they believe they go to heaven. And then some people say, well, we believe they become a genderless TK smoothie or something like that. But I don't know that was, I think Joseph Fielding Smith said it or something, but I don't know that that's been doctrine that you won't have your junk up there. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe Hitler's up there boning away, having the time of his life. Guys, I was wrong. Let's have some sex.
Oh, no. I love that, Jordan.
We're completely neutered. I mean, we can do it, but we're not going to make any babies.
Hitler in the celestial or in the terrestrial kingdom getting his fucking patriarchal blessing. Guys, I am of the house of Judah. That's so crazy. Isn't that just serendipitous?
My face is so red right now. You have no idea.
So embarrassed. We have some apologizing to do.
Oh my gosh. Here's the Tribune headline of that. Mormon stories is apologized for detailing church activities of the same-sex LDS couple. I think it's funny that that's dropping right at the same time as this Jubilee thing.
That's pretty great.
Even though that I think these guys got the win, you had to not get the win. You pulled it out, right? You snatched it. What is that? They snatched it from the jaws of victory. You know? Yeah. But for the Ward side, I just don't get why you guys walked into this. Doesn't everybody know since forever to not walk into these anymore?
Well, no, that's the other thing. It's like, I mean, because props to Card and Quaker, because like they knew damn well, like there is no neutral ground for Mormons. Like that place does not exist.
Yeah.
Like truly neutral ground for Mormons. And never mind when like we're dealing with, let's face it, wokies who are playing hide the ball with their ideology, you know, like the whole thing is slanted from the get-go.
Yeah.
So like, you know, they knew that. And then like in that respect, like props, and I think they did a good job, you know, but
I gotta say, so I have a certain level of respect to like the leukemia thing was wild that Cardin thought that was a good idea. But I have a certain level of respect for him for giving zero fucks about the optics. I get so tired of these internet games where, because Kwaku caring about the optics bugs me.
Yeah.
Here's one of my.
I want to just charge in there and defend your beliefs, and don't be like, well, I believe this thing, but I wouldn't say that I believe it because it would look bad.
This compliment is genuine and backhanded. Cardin isn't just stupid; he's sincerely stupid. Like he means it. You know, like John DeLynn is more of a calculating Machiavellian stupid. Like he's pretending to play dumb. Cardin really is just Cardin. Like
the thing that's funny about Cardin is I do think like he's full of so much like information in the world and know-how on like media stuff. It's just it's kind of just like a socially thing more than like a but
no, I share a lot of Cardin in the sense that I do not worry about what comes out of my mouth. For better
we're Chris's autistic corner for the week. Cardin's the hero. So this came out of it.
Yeah, this is.
I was just
nice.
thinking, sitting in the airport with my wife Amanda. We just landed in Dallas, and I owe Cardin Ellis an apology. I just watched the whole Mormons versus Exmos, and you know, I know nothing about the guy except for he runs a podcast that is quite obnoxious in some people's eyes. But I had no idea that he was suffering from leukemia. And I called him out, acted like I wanted to maybe be violent with him. Cardin, I'm sorry.
Wait, is he saying that the leukemia is the factor?
Yeah, that's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
He's like, wait a minute.
No. Like,
I almost beat up a cancer boy.
I thought this was going to be pleasant.
It's like, what if you beat him up and then you found out later he was retarded, and then you'd be like, oh shit, whoops.
Ah, goodness gracious, golly.
I would have never threatened to hurt you if I knew you had leukemia.
That's
Let's
a
break
weird.
bread.
If you were a healthy dick, I was gonna beat the shit out of you.
Also, I just learned that you're 6'6".
Yeah.
Wait, is Carden 6'6"?
Apparently, I guess
He's
a giant
tall.
dude.
Yeah, I
he's
met
a
him
big
for
guy.
Jesus.
No,
he's crazy tall.
he and Dylan can have tall ops.
Yep.
Have you seen a picture of Barron Trump?
Yeah, he's like 7 foot tall.
Really?
He's like 6'8". Barron Trump. You see a picture of him
The
next
kid,
to his
the teenager.
Yeah,
yeah.
he's like late teens
fucking
now.
wild.
Here,
Remember
I'll
all the
pull
way
it.
back when it was okay to go after 12-year-olds as long as it was to Trump? for
Yeah, that was
political
fine.
reasons.
When we
Remember
treated
those
him like
days?
thugs.
Here he is. Look how tall he is next to Trump.
I
That's
don't
when he
even
was
think
like,
that's a recent picture.
Wow.
Trump's like 6'1".
yeah,
He's
He's
got
monster.
the Slovenian mom.
yeah. I heard
Yugoslavia
that.
makes a lot of Yugoslavia does produce a lot of great basketball players.
True. What if Trump's kid? Although I heard that he is technically autistic, like for real. But
Giant autistic Trump. Why can't he be president? I'd go for that. Autistic Trump.
Yeah, I think that's how
Yeah.
Game of Thrones ended.
What are we doing? We're talking autistic Trump for president. We're talking Hitler getting a priesthood blessing or a patriarchal blessing. We're talking cancer fights. Come on.
This
You
week in
deserve to be
Mormonism.
canceled. Cancel culture doesn't go far enough. Like cancel us.
Troy brought up a good point. He says, "Why apologize publicly unless you want the public to know you apologized?" Smarmy, man. And kudos for using the word smarmy. I love that word.
Smarm. Ooh.
And I told him that I was leaving my marriage because I was gay.
Oh, that's too fast. But I want it fast.
Slow that gay down.
Does she always have a
He told me to read
filter
Charlie
on?
Bird's book without the mask. Charlie grew up in the same area as me, and I see his family all the time. I told my bishop that I had read his book. My bishop then proceeded to tell me to be like Charlie, to stay in the church, to stay single, and not to date women. I cut the bishop off mid-sentence, and I said, "Bishop, I did read his book. And you know what I noticed? He never said he was going to stay single. And he never said he was going to stay celibate. He said he was going to carve his own path, even if it made him unpopular." My bishop just stared at me. And then he did something that still hurts me to this day. He took away my calling as a gospel doctor and teacher. He took away my temple recommend, and he told me I could no longer take the sacrament. I had done nothing except decide to leave my marriage. I was perfectly worthy to enter the temple.
Wait a minute.
No.
Wait a minute.
No.
I left my husband to fuck women, and that's it. That's it.
All I did is tell my bishop that I intend to violate the law of chastity the way it's understood in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, where I took my endowment and made my promises. That's all I did was say, "Fuck you" and the church. It's like, yeah, no.
Jesus.
Choosing to leave my marriage because I was gay, everything was taken away from me. We learned last week that Charlie
Everything was
Bird and his
taken
husband not
away.
only
Like what was taken away from you? Like you
blew this
spend your
up.
time saying that all this isn't true. Like what was
I
taken
know.
away from you?
This
You
club
don't
I
have
didn't
to
want to
be-
be in kicked me out because I said they were bullshit all the time, and they took everything
Yeah.
away from me. And by everything, I mean the club membership that I say is bullshit all the time.
Yeah.
I hate you. Don't leave me. I hate you. Don't. leave me.
Patriarchal racist nightmare that oppresses me threw me out because I rejected their doctrine.
I bring this up. I bring this up a lot because I used to never, ever think about this line in The Dark Knight that I thought was so stupid when I was a kid and that movie came out, where that bank dude is lying on the ground after having been shot, and he's like, "Criminals in this town used to have honor," and now I'm realizing that's like an archetypal thing. Is
Yeah.
that people who like rebels used to have some type of honor, and now you've got fucking her and Nemo acting like victims of a group that they're trying to tear down. Like they won't
You
let
make
me
like
in the
a-
group that I'm tearing down.
You can almost make like a Chappelle skit where somebody's like gets up and announces to the KKK, "You guys are all kind of racist," and then they say, "You're getting out," and you're like, "This is a barbaric tradition of kicking somebody out." This is medieval. Medieval.
Kind of
They're also
backward.
You're taking everything away. You're taking my hood. Just because I'm
My
not down with
community?
racism, you're taking my hood from me.
What am I gonna do on Friday nights?
I'm here to discuss the ethics of how this information was obtained. But there are two questions that I want to address. One, is Charlie Bird privileged in the church? And two,
So
does making
that is a good question. Like why?
I mean,
doesn't
yeah, he
Charlie
is.
Bird- Yeah,
He's- He's like, nobody seems to care that he's just in an actual gay marriage.
Yeah, and I think that what the church should come down on is kick him out. Then when they kick him out, they can like point at Dylan and say, "Dylan did this to us. He ratted us out. Dylan the rat ratted us out." And then it'll be like, "Oh no, I got them kicked out of the KKK for them. That I
Yeah.
say they all should leave."
That organization that is happy to murder gay teens throughout the game.
I kicked them
It's
out of the
responsible for
KT
so much
movement.
harm.
I've caused so much harm.
this information public that Charlie and his husband have callings and take the sacrament make a positive change. Number one, yes, of course Charlie is privileged, and that hurts. That is so painful. If the leaders of the church talk to God and are inspired, then why are so many people being treated differently? I am thrilled for Charlie Bird. We also learned that there are 6 other couples who are in legal same-sex marriages who also enjoy the privilege of taking the sacrament. I celebrate that. I also feel
Why?
a deep sense of loss.
Why?
Why are
Why?
so many of us treated differently? I would that every queer Latter-day Saint had a bishop like Charlie's. Can you imagine?
So we could all stay in the lie.
Yeah, would you go back?
That's
The way
what
we
that's
just said-
what's
I don't understand.
the
It's
stuff
just like a
that
different
basically
breed.
Gerardo says that kind of.
Is this a different breed of person? Like somebody who would actually go back to the church if it was nice to them again, even though they think it's bullshit?
Well,
Because
look,
like,
she
what would
pulls
get
up-
you to go back to the church? Seriously, like what
She's-
would the only
Go
thing
ahead.
that could get me to go back to the church is if I thought that it was real. Like if I thought the things that they said actually like happened.
We keep landing on that.
I know we keep landing on that, but I don't fucking understand. They'd be like, man, if only they had been nicer to me, I wouldn't have left. Wait, you just said it's bullshit.
Yeah.
You just said that Moroni never visited Joseph Smith. You said that the Nephites never came to America and that the Native Americans are not descended from Jews. Like, I'm with you, by the way. Like, I also believe that same thing, but that means
in
that
the
I'm not going to go
Jubilee-
back to church.
In the Jubilee episode, the gay guy says, "I don't care what you guys do in this life or the afterlife. I'm keeping my kids with me, and that's just how it's going to be." Like, okay, that is a religious claim, and it's not the Mormon one. So you're just not a Mormon.
Yeah.
What's the point? If you didn't believe that, maybe you'd join back with
Wait
the
a minute.
Mormons.
He
But-
started arguing with them over whether or not he's going to have his kids in the afterlife.
Yeah,
what he said?
he announced to them.
Because-
He announced to them, "I will have my kids with me through the
Like in the
entire
celestial
afterlife."
kingdoms that we're talking about, because
I
that's exactly how religious disagreements are. This is what makes zero sense to me about the whole gay marriage debate. I was talking about this on Thoughtful Saints the other day. They were talking about how you can't call a gay union a marriage, and I was like, well, the best part is since we have a legal system that feels the need to acknowledge romantic unions for some reason, we can't really discriminate on that. And so here's the awesome part. 2 gay dudes can say we're married, and then the Christians can be like, that doesn't count. And then the gay dudes can be like, yeah, it does. And then that's it. That's the
Yeah.
only real, like, you guys can both go
Liberalism.
on telling each other it doesn't fucking count.
Yeah, that's what I thought the game we were
So
playing was.
you're fucking my kids will be in the celestial kingdom. You guys are arguing about lore again. This is this fucking Star Trek thing we always bring up.
Does making this information public bring positive change? There is a clip from the Mormon Stories episode that I wanted to share because I feel like so many people are just brushing over it.
This morning I had this beautiful conversation with my dad, who I've said a million times in the podcast that my dad's a bishop, but I was telling him about it, and I just wanted to hear his opinion on it as a bishop. And as the conversation started going through, and I was explaining who Charlie was and what was happening and how I saw what I saw. I went to church yesterday and saw it. He's like, if Zach and you, my husband, if Zach and you decide to come to church and come to our word, I would let you have a calling, and I would give you a calling, and I would probably also let you take the sacrament. I wouldn't tell you not to. And I was like, wow. Like, so if this episode does that to other bishops, I mean, that's
So you should go back to the church that you guys spend all the rest of your time saying is a cult, because now the cult is pink washed.
I don't know. there's kind of a little bit of a thing with this because, like, in the Scientology world, the ex-Scientology world in particular, like, Mike Rinder was one of the biggest names in the ex-Scientology world, and from the very beginning, there's a lot of people who've always taken issue with him, especially ex-Scientologists who are like, Mike, you were one of the abusers. Like, it was only when the whole system turned on you, but like you were the number 2 guy, and like now
That
to his
happened with
credit,
some of the Nexium ladies. I guess they
Yeah.
were the ones who were rounding them up, and then later they were saying we were abused.
like because like Mike Render, like he has apologized and apologized and apologized and apologized. So like he never denied being a piece of shit. But I also know to this day there's a lot of people who are like, no, it's not good enough, man. Like the shit you did, like you should be quiet. It's like it's not fair for you to make a career out of this after what you did. I kind of see their point. I don't have strong feelings on it either way, but I also kind of wonder, like with some of these Mormon types, where they're kind of the same thing, where it's like, like how many of you like were Mormon until people basically Mormons got tired of your shit, and now you're just switching around, like now you're just turning, like like we say about Carol all the time, like because Carol always talks about like, oh, when I was Mormon, I thought I was morally superior, more intelligent, and
Hey,
I
you're a
looked
fucking asshole.
Like I looked down my nose at people and I blocked critics and all this stuff's like, well, yeah, nothing's changed, Kara.
You were an asshole. You're still an asshole.
Yeah.
That's
You still do all of those things. You still are all of those things.
a lot of us didn't fucking do that, by the way.
Yeah.
So all this Mormon stuff and not teaching the gays to be gays, right? Did you see the Archuleta thing that I shared with you?
I saw a little bit of it. Like it's too stupid. Like I'm too embarrassed for him for how stupid it was.
Yeah, is this too cringy to watch on here?
Like,
so Archuleta posted this TikTok.
If this is you, you better lower your motherfucking tone when you.
You better lower your motherfucking tone. She's holding up a what is it? A
Tape
ruler, tape measure, and it says 3 inches. And it says, if this is you, you better lower your tone when you're talking to me.
You better lower your motherfucking tone when you talking to me.
It's Archuleta cuts to himself, and he's dropped the tone entirely on his mic, and he's like fake singing with no tone. So he's basically saying that he's 3 inches.
is he a short guy? I don't know.
He's a short guy.
He says he's 5'5" or 6 or something.
He's 5'5". So that's what he goes and says later, that he thought it was a short joke.
That was funny. He's a good sport about it. He seems like a nice dude.
Yeah. So the whole thing's just him mouthing singing right there because the tone's all the way down because he's that short.
He's just a little guy. He's just a little 3-incher.
Show it, Dave.
I just imagine his face going like, Dave, they meant penis. And he goes, oh,
that's it right here.
He just whips it.
Not just once, like all week long. He's like, I didn't know. Here to
the grave. But I think the reason why I had a slight freak out and haven't even been able to sleep the last couple of nights is because this is all new to me. Like I grew up very conservative, and not only did you not talk about
how could you like be part of
no Mormons had little dick jokes. Mormons have always made little dick jokes. That's not.
You've been part of like the Hollywood scene for years too.
This kind of stuff like adult humor, sexuality. You're not even supposed to consider thinking about it. Like you're not even supposed to think. If it comes in your mind, you're supposed to just shut it down. If some of y'all have seen the Book of Mormon musical, that song, Turn It Off, like a lot, it's real. Like that's a real thing for Mormons. So to have gone there this week, even though it was unintentional, but to like make a TikTok that actually was like a sexual, I guess not sexual. I mean, your body doesn't always have to be sexual. Sometimes but it was just such a big no-no all my life to even discuss. So to have brought it up to the table in front of everyone in public, it was just like my brain is saying, what are you doing? You're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be to like transition into being okay to talk about this stuff. It's like, I'm growing up in front of everybody, and it's like, wait, David, but some of y'all are like, we're the same age, and this is like high school and college stuff. or maybe it's even middle school
No,
for y'all.
this is
who are
elementary
younger
school.
than
I'm pretty sure 4th grade. Yeah. And you want to know what's funny? Here's a funny thing. I went to your high school. We went to the same high school. I know what that world's like. You know?
So I buy that some people are so unbelievably sheltered, but that's not the Mormon experience for most people. Like most Mormons I know get dick jokes.
Yeah. No, it's like you missed the joke, and now you're Streisanding your mistake, and you really should just have gone, "Oh yeah, just be quiet about it."
It just flew over my head.
Yeah, like what do you like? You just played off. It's like, no, I got it. I'm going meta. You know? Oh, okay.
But it's also like there's never not an opportune moment to bring up your Mormonism weirdness, I guess.
Like we've already like that was years ago for us, but it's for me, it's right now, and it's kind of a.
You want to know
strange
something
place to
else
be.
that's funny? Is like we all know that his dad was arrested for going to prostitutes over here in like Murray like 15 years ago too.
Oh yeah.
God.
I forgot about that.
Especially in front of people, especially after people have seen me
If
and
you
have
remember,
known about me
right
for
at first,
50
his dad was kind of like a stage dad, like he'd kind of appear everywhere with them all the time, and then
Why is
now
it-
he's
so
just been
this-
gone.
It feels like it doesn't need to be a thing. It's like it was kind of this funny, dorky thing where it's like, okay, I didn't get it, guys. I'm a dork. That's all this is. And he's like, well, you don't understand what it was like to grow up like me.
I'm more than
All
positive
Mormons
at
are
any
jokes.
point in my life, if I'd missed like a joke like that and done it wrong, and then went apologizing for it, I wouldn't have brought up Mormonism at any point.
And I'm sorry, I'm a fucking idiot. That's that's it.
10 years maybe at this point. Also, I realized I cut my fingers, so that's what that is. But it's like a liberating experience, but it does freak my brain out because my brain was so used to just being locked up with that kind of stuff. It was about being squeaky clean. And I really lived that, like I lived
Okay, I have
shutting
no more
down my
sympathy
brain.
for him.
It was easy for me to do because I'd done it all my life, and now it's opening up, and it's just a bit wild for me, but it's also liberating and freeing and exciting to finally feel like, yeah, I'm growing up, having these adult pangs and just living life. Anyway,
like
thanks
30
for coming to my TED Talk.
Seriously, like
No,
how
he
old
is.
is Dave Archuleta?
He's about 30. He was in the MTC about 2 years after I was. So,
1990. He's 34 years old.
1990.
He's 30. December 20th, 1990. He's 33 years old.
Oh, I thought he was younger than me.
Gee.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was diddled. Cancel this again. Verdict, you're getting us canceled. That's not adult humor. That's 8th grade boy humor. Yes,
Sorry, wait a minute. Diddled. What does diddled mean?
What does he know what diddled means?
No, I'm asking you. He said he was diddled. What does diddled mean? What is that?
Diddled.
Is that like a sexual joke or something? I'm sorry. I was raised Mormon, so these
Yeah.
growing pains, I don't understand if this is a perverted joke or not.
Oh, we can't explain it to you. Look at this. Salt Lake Tribune says, latest from Mormon land. Repent, racist, or you could lose your temple recommend. Leader warns.
Oh, God. To just start mass fucking make me the prophet for like a week. I will clean your church up.
Yeah. Oh, goodness gracious. Do you want to see some people who go to a college like your college and complaining about it? It's not BYU Idaho, but I noticed this. I pulled it up on TikTok, and there's these girls complaining about their college.
Rules at our university that would send a normal person into a spiral. Part one.
Liberty University. Well, I don't even know what that is.
We have a bedtime.
Just kidding. It's a curfew, and on the weekdays it's 12 a.m. And on the weekends we get 30 extra minutes.
12:30. And Wednesdays, it's 10 p.m. You can't have people of the opposite gender in your dorms at all.
None.
At all.
ever.
Another rule that we have to follow is that you have to sign out, aka fill out a little permission slip to get permission to stay off campus, and you have to stay with a married couple, not with
Married
anyone single.
couple.
You have to be married. So y'all don't sneaky link on the low.
Okay, so you can't wear shorts to class. Doesn't matter if you're a girl or a guy. You cannot wear shorts to class. If you were a girl, you either have to wear a skirt or long pants, and if you're a guy, you have to wear long pants.
You're also
And
not supposed to wear sweatpants either.
no sweatpants to class.
That's a no-no. When you go to the gym, for example, this wouldn't be allowed.
Dress code!
You would get dress coded and kicked out of the gym because you're showing your midriff. No midriff.
Okay. Here's the thing. Midriffs are hot. All right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. Ex-Mormons seem to do this thing where they act like Mormon rules are so absurd because, like, oh, just because I'm showing part of my midriff or, oh, my shoulders, that's not sexual. That's not hot. Or no, shoulders are hot. It's hot when my wife shows her midriff and her shoulders. And so I don't pretend this is, like, nothing.
Yeah, no, it's a Christian school. Like, I think
Also,
I know what it
if
is.
I
Liberty
thought
is a
that,
Christian
like,
school.
see, the rules at BYU Idaho were stupid, and I hated them. And the reason that I complain against them now is, like, well, a lot of them were treating their students like little kids, and I don't think it's in the church's best interest to treat their students like little kids. But if I thought for a second that it would cure a bunch of people from being vapid TikTok cunts, then I would be like, yep, no sweats anymore.
Like, how many universities are like that? A ton of them nowadays,
I don't
or
know.
something. Like, is BYU really that much of a weird outlier on all that stuff? I mean, I'm guessing it's a Christian university or something, but
I knew a guy who went to like a Christian Bible school and they had all those same kinds of rules.
yeah. And then there's the other end of it too. Is like, if you don't like to be there, and you're probably there because your parents wanted you to go there if they're paying for it, but don't go. There's other universities.
Yep.
But we always have these weird answers for stuff. Like, they're autistic, I think. Look at this. New Name Noah posted a anti-Brandon meme.
What?
How effing cool is Brandon right about now? Or is that a positive one? How am I doing? And it's Satan. Great.
With New Name Noah, it's hard to tell.
He he has Trump derangement syndrome bad.
But does he also have Brandon derangement syndrome?
Yeah, does he have Biden derangement syndrome?
I don't think so. I think that's probably.
I don't get that meme.
He's
Was
probably
he saying that it's cool that
reposting-
he's down with Satan? Or
Yeah,
something?
yeah. I'm
Like
betting
Dark
that
Brandon?
he saw. I'm betting that he saw some Mormon or Christian post that, and he's like, "Hell yeah, that's why I love Biden."
Because he's a Satanist.
Yeah, no, he just does everything ironically and stupidly. It's
Yeah, New Name Noah. I'm
Yeah, maybe it was ironic or something.
not impressed by that guy.
Or he was posting like, well, look what these guys are saying about Brandon or something. I don't know. I have no idea. But this is some gym and diet motivation. I wanted to show you people what happens like when you become a shredded guy, how things change for you in the world. Check this out.
See that baddie over there? Dude, watch this. Good. Dude, that was crazy. That was crazy. That was bro. good. That was great. Oh my god.
That is right exactly how much attention you get from women for getting shredded. So that's the motivation for
Do you have one to show us how much attention you get from men?
Yeah, and you do get that much more attention from men. Yes. So that's the motivation to stick with it, because if you want the ladies to still not notice you at all, that's how to do it. I mean, I can promise you it works.
I wish we had Andy the clip of Norm Macdonald on The View, and he's making misogynistic jokes, and they say something like, well, do you get women? And he just goes, well, I have a lot of money.
Okay, here's I was gonna pull up Scott Adams describing the problem with everything.
I'm just going to read it to you the way I wrote it on X if you didn't see it yet, because the order it is important. Here it is. Here's what's wrong with everything. It's a system problem. It's a system problem, but not one system. But there's a common part to it. All right, I finally figured out what's wrong with everything. It's a system problem. The introduction of Trump into the systems, our various government and other systems, broke almost everything, and in multiple different ways. So in other words, you could go back to the cause was Trump. Now that doesn't mean Trump's bad. That means he was the triggering event. And the fake news created a white supremacist hysteria, specifically because of Trump. So tell me you're with me so far. Would you agree that Trump was so scary to the system that they created a white supremacist hysteria? Yeah, we watched it. Now, what happened with that white supremacist hysteria? Well, that led you to the Fine People hoax, and it also led you to the George Floyd hoax. Hoax in the sense that, it's obviously wasn't murdered. Now, what did the George Floyd hoax and the Fine People hoax lead to? Well, it led to massive increase in DEI, right? So massive increase in DEI, that's well documented. And the number of white people who got promoted from that point on, dropped to practically nothing in corporate America. So they really did a full court press on DEI. Now, what's the let's say unavoidable consequence of pushing DEI faster than, let's say, it could organically happen? The natural outcome of that is incompetence in all of our systems. So in other words, you should expect that the FAA would be hiring less capable pilots, less capable air control people, not because they're black, not because they're women. See, this is what you can't talk about this in public, because it'll take about 2 seconds for somebody to say, hey, he just said black people can't be pilots. No, nothing like that. Not even anything close to that. It's just math. If you don't have enough people to fill the jobs, but you got to fill the jobs anyway, and you have to reach down and lower your requirements, you're guaranteed to get fewer qualified people. It has nothing to do with gender, it has nothing to do with anything, but just limitations of math. So that's a guarantee that Trump caused the news to do a white supremacist hysteria purely for political reasons. I don't think the news people believed it so much. That created several hoaxes that led to the DEI, that caused you massive incompetence in all of our systems, which on day one you don't really notice. But once it works through the system and hits a certain critical point, you actually have too many incompetent people for anything to work, right? Have you ever been in a big organization and everybody was pretty good at their job except maybe just one person, and the whole thing goes to hell? It only takes one bad person in the group and you can't get anything done, right? So by now, in theory, DEI should have ruined almost everything important in the country, because it's just math. And again, I'll say it every 5 seconds. It has nothing to do with anybody being black or minority. It has nothing to do with what color you are. It's just the system. It's a system that tries to do something.
Did he just have a beep?
The math doesn't support. That's
Did
the
he
problem.
beep? I think he beeped.
Did
he have a ceiling bird?
I think so.
We're gonna have to get sidetracked by that. Hold on.
Yeah, we have to
You actually
track
have
down
too many
ceiling bird.
incompetent people for anything to work.
Did I go back far enough?
Have you ever been in a big organization and everybody was
Yeah.
pretty good at their job except maybe just one person, and the whole thing goes to hell? It only takes one bad person in the group and you can't get anything done, right? So by now, in theory, DEI should have ruined almost everything.
I think it was in
the country.
there.
Yeah, I'm
I
pretty
heard
sure.
it again.
I didn't hear it that time.
He was talking like he's talking, but you hear the overtone.
Anyway,
So by
I
now,
don't-
in theory, DEI should have ruined almost everything important in the country, because it's just math.
Well, I didn't hear it. Well, anyway, that's his take on that. The Trump derangement ruined everything.
So I don't understand how people who were in like the music industry don't understand this, because I remember trying to explain it to a friend one time when we went to we were just at like a battle of the bands, and this girl band showed up, and I was like, girl band. And she's like, what's wrong with girls playing music? I was like, nothing's wrong with girls playing music. It's that a girl band is always going to be worse. Almost always.
Yeah.
Why is that? It's like, well, because you're only looking for girls, right?
Yeah.
Like, and women just, they play in rock bands less than men do.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a specific type of person who is less likely to play rock music, then you're going to find your quality of people is lower. So it's
Yeah.
it's nothing against female musicians. It's the same with, it's nothing against black pilots. But if you're going to have a band play your wedding and there's like 8 girl bands and 1 non-girl band and you have to choose them without looking at their music, you're going to choose the non-girl band because you're not sure. Same with the pilot.
Yep. Well, here's some evidence, because I mean, all that stuff's getting discussed. The Mark Cuban stuff still happened this week. He tried to say some things of like, nobody's saying equity equals equal outcomes, and then people just downloaded a million examples of it, and then he just just kept
You know, it'd be a fun experiment to run. It's like we do a kind of a version of this thing that Jared's just talking about, and like, and you know the famous thing about like with they say African American sounding names and job applications. What if they did a thing where you had to pick a basketball team just on names?
Well, isn't that like how girls like usually pick for the brackets at like March Madness? Like,
it's just like you're like, you know, like, well, we've got Jamal Henderson, we've got
oh yeah. Oh, you're talking about the
Israel
resume
Goldstein.
thing? Yeah, the
Yeah.
resume thing.
Like so, like, yeah, it's like what are the chances that you just don't go with Yisrael Goldstein and you just go with you might be wrong.
Kim Lee Jin.
Yeah. But yeah, like,
was
it
a great
might be that Jamal Harrison is not the best basketball player in that bunch, but we'll see.
Well, there was a big Twitter debate this week about HBD, which is human biodiversity, and there were some people who were arguing for some certain concepts of white. They were saying like, what's superior and superiority, and they were making the concept of like, who is a superior at altitudes, a Sherpa or white people? So are you allowed to say Sherpas are superior at altitudes? Are you allowed to say Kenyans are better runners and all that sort of stuff?
Wow. Yeah.
But you can't. So like, when can you say some general group within human biodiversity has a superior area versus some other ones? And it just turned into like a major Twitter explosion, which most of the lefties on it, just most of their reactions to it were, dude, bro, seriously, bro, dude, my dude, what are you saying, my dude? Dude, did you just say that, my dude? And that's most of their rebuttals on the thought experiments they were going down, you know. But look, here's Netflix. They're making Alexander the Great gay. Lame and gay.
Make him lame and gay.
Yeah,
this is somebody who's arguing that they're putting the woke away. This is mentions of racism in the New York Times, and that's 2010. You see 2020 right there where it's peaking, and now it's going back down to 2023. Maybe they are putting the woke away a little bit, just based off that. I don't know. What do you think?
If more people are sick of it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The problem is they started invading everything too quickly. Because when I would yell about this shit, my mom and them would be like, you know, you're just being ridiculous. And then like it started getting into my mom's shit and my dad's shit. Like it got into football a while back. So my dad's been yelling about it for a while too. Then it got into the fucking Bachelor. So my mom is like, yo, these people are fucking ridiculous.
Well, the scary thing is like, I mean, because the virus model of this stuff, which, you know, like Lindsay points out, like they published a whole paper about, was it women's studies as a virus? The whole point of a virus is that it destroys the host. You know?
Yeah.
Like that's how it works. It moves in, it destroys it. Like, you know, that's the whole thing. It hijacks the production equipment to reproduce itself, and then when it's done, it's done, and the mission is accomplished. You reproduced the virus, and you move on to the next host.
Totally. Flip, where did you post that juxtaposed?
That's in the main group chat.
I think it's in the main chat.
The main one?
Jeez.
The authoritarianism.
We talk a lot.
We do.
Oh, that's Kwaku Fan Club. That's why I can't see. We have a group called Kwaku Fan Club.
Yeah. Cause problems.
That was Morgan named it that. She likes fucking with the names on all the groups.
Yeah. Where is it?
Is it gone?
No.
Not on my phone. I know I
Here,
sent it.
I'll send
I
it
saw
again.
too.
This is really good podcast.
I found it.
There it is.
Oh, you did? Okay.
But yeah, this is just funny. Like, look at that. Like, you can't make this shit up.
What does it say? It says,
Top court to consider if Trump can run for president. Top story. The next story. Putin challenger barred from Russia's election. Yep.
yeah. Well, that's how stuff goes. I don't know. I don't know how we get out of any of this. There's something Elon Musk shared, which is something that keeps coming up. And yeah, I know Quaku's been on his CRT bent, but the colors of country from lighter to darker is how late they got rid of racism
Or slavery.
Slavery,
Right?
yeah,
Yeah,
not
slavery.
racism.
Not racism.
The
But yeah.
abolition of modern slavery by date, and so all the gray ones are up towards the top or right there. And then it's
Mauritania is
right
1980.
I can't make it big. When did they do it? Well, way
The
after.
last country is 1980. No, that's one of those things. Like, because I always bring it up. I mean, when I can. But like, you know, like there's this article of faith that American economic prosperity is directly or mostly attributable to a history of slavery. So I was like, well, what's the country with the most slaves on earth right now? And of course, nobody knows. It's like, because, you know, what does it mean that it's, you know, one of the most poorest, backward places on earth? Like, and, you know, because it's Mauritania. That's where there's most slaves. It's one of the poorest countries on earth. And then also, you know, I always say the same thing. Like, you can see on this map, like, explain Brazil. How do you explain Brazil? Like, what are you talking about? It's like Brazil had 10 times as many slaves for 200 more years than America. But Brazil isn't 10 times wealthier than America. Like, not by a long damn way. You know, so
Well, it
like
should
the whole
be.
like just plugging in slavery and saying, oh, that's the thing, like it just doesn't work. It's that simple. Like, your theory fails. But it's not a theory, it's an article of faith for the left. So it's impervious to dumb things like facts.
Oh, definitely an
But-
article of faith.
Yeah, no, like those things, like an article of faith is like it's a statement of dogma that is impervious to facts. Like, and that's one of the articles of faith of leftism, you know. The other one, like not the other one, another one is women earn less than men for the same work. Like, no, that's not true, but it's an article of faith. You know, police kill black men without consequence in America. That's an article of faith. It's not true, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's
If it's not true, then why do I have faith in it?
Oh.
Oh.
If it's not true, then why am I yelling?
Epistemology. That's
Money status. It's like fascist or incel.
It says people, but what it means is women.
Yeah.
Girls. I have a home ass if you want a home asser.
I would love a home math.
Oh, I love home math. There's no
Here
Charlie dog
comes-
today, is there?
There's no Charlie today,
Oh.
unfortunately. Maybe by tomorrow. I won't be on here tomorrow. I've also got this really weird race.
If one more man tells me at the end of a date that I have taught him so much, I'm going to lose my mind. Women are not your teachers. Women are not your teachers.
Oh my God.
They make you better men. Women are not your teachers.
Modern women hate it when men like them, apparently. Never clear what they want to be liked for, what they want to offer. It's always like, you're so attractive. I'm not your sex object. You're such a good listener. I'm not your therapist. You taught me so much. I'm not your teacher. Women are not your teachers. I really appreciate your help around the house. I'm not your personal chef. I'm not your maid. What are you? What do you want to be? What do you want to be valued for? Is it your job? What do you want men to say on dates? Like, it's so cool that you're a product manager? Do you want to be appreciated for how much money you make, but also men should earn so much more that they're not impressed, but also men should earn the same. And then you want us to support you after earning the same amount, which is also unattractive to you. What do you want to be liked for? What do you want us to say is good about you? Do you want every date to be a man just silently pouring money and time and attention down your throat while you just do you like this? Do you want this to be our relationship with you? Being mad that men value you for knowing things is unhinged. I thought you wanted to know things. I thought that's why you were all in college. This is a mind map that I'm working on. It starts down here with what you want, and then it goes up to your mind and what you think and what you believe, and then there's how you show up in the world and the things that you do, and then the people in your environment react to you, and that's what your life is made of, and then you get feedback. What do you want that feedback to be? Because apparently it cannot be your body, it cannot be your emotional support, it cannot be how smart you are, it can't be cooking and cleaning. What do you got? What else you got? Because it seems like you want to just receive things forever, and then we get, in return, we get to watch you receive them. We put things on the table, and then you just are the table, and then transaction complete. Now, I don't know if you know this, but you said women are not your teachers, like all of them. Some women like to be teachers. I've known women who have taught me things, and then I said, thank you, that was really cool. And then they smiled and they were happy. You could try that. Let us know when you figure it out, all right? This is not what I want to get after this experience.
Oh, God, this guy is the best.
I love math.
Is he on YouTube or is he only on Talktown?
He's on YouTube, but his YouTube's longer form talking. It's not really kind of like that creative little.
Oh man, those are just brilliant. But that's just, he's so succinct.
Yeah.
He really just puts it there, like, yeah, like there you go. Like what, like, and that's the thing is like, because it's a fair question. Like, well, okay, lady, what do you want? Like, tell me how that date was supposed to go in your optimal date.
Oh no, she's getting what she wants. She's getting
The complaining is a output that they like.
Yeah.
If you complain about the quality of everybody around you, all that does is indicate the quality that you are. Like that's the thought process behind it is that, oh, if I think that everybody is dumb, everyone will think that I'm smart. If I think that everybody is weak, everyone will think that I must be strong.
Yeah.
So look at this, what happened in Maoist China. They were trying to send people over into the Muslim regions to populate them. So they sent a ton of young men, and then they realized that none of them were happy because there weren't any women over there. So they realized there's a problem. There's no women for these men. So the solution was unprecedented CCP-sponsored human trafficking. The army recruited young women in Hunan province by promising them glorious work of running armies, modern farms, and opportunities to study in Russia. Some of them probably were even offered to be what seemed people who did what are the things the commies always
Fuck,
do?
is this just nationwide Andrew Tate?
Yeah.
What the commies always like brag and say, like when the revolution arrives, I'm going to do uniforms or stuff like that. They probably were told that sort of thing.
No, you'll be auctioned off to the officers.
The test and screening were required. 8,000 lucky ones. Many educated were selected. They had no idea what awaited for them. All of them were auctioned out as wives upon arrival. Officers with the highest rank got to pick first. The young women were told that this was their revolutionary duty. Many married men old enough to be their fathers. Many never got to see their families again. Their stories remain unknown until recent time.
Jesus.
Fun
Well,
world.
there you go.
True history, real history.
But remember that it's Jordan Peterson that believes in enforced monogamy. Jordan Peterson is the guy who famously had advocated for forcing women into marriage with young men. That was Jordan Peterson. That wasn't the fucking
thing
communist.
about talking about assigned marriage or something. They're saying, yeah, let's do it. I didn't watch it though. Did any of you watch that one?
Well, which one?
The Midnight Mormons had one about some sort of assigned marriage dating app or something like that. I didn't watch it though.
Does that
New
sound like
listener
something?
wants to know if this is just Mormons not captured by Marxism. Yeah, basically. I mean, we're ex-Mormons not captured by Marxism, but yeah.
Yeah.
No, we're
let's
not.
go.
We're Mormons. We're Desnat.
Yeah, no, we're Exmo Desmat. We actually found out that we are atheist
Hipster
ex-Mormons that
Exmo
are secretly advocating toward the creation of the Mormon theocratic state of Deseret. That thing is like if because like if there's gonna be if the Deseret is gonna be super duper right wing trad nationalistic, it'll be family based, and so I've got some pretty hefty pioneer heritage. So like I will be able to claim a lot of land and create my fiefdom within the land of Deseret. So I'm all for it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like how people post in the voice of Norm Macdonald nowadays.
Yeah.
There was that bill that said that you had to let in 3 million immigrants every year to stop the immigration problem. And White House says ICE will reduce deportation detention capacity if Republicans don't pass the border bill. Logan Hall says, tonight, Democrats have issued a final ultimatum to the American people. Agree to let them destroy America or they will
keep destroying America. Exactly. No,
Does
that's
anyone
not
do a norm?
I can't do a norm. I don't think I can do a norm.
No, I'm not gonna try.
You do a lot of good impressions.
You
I
don't
might be
do
able
a
to do it
norm
if I really tried it at some point, but I've never practiced, and it's too intimidating. It feels.
Hey, go
mean.
back to it. Let me see if I can do it.
I might have lost it.
That's
got it.
okay. Tonight, Democrats have issued a final ultimatum to the American people. Agree to let them destroy America, or they'll keep destroying America. I didn't do it.
And you
Hard
gotta
to
get
do.
this.
Destroying America.
The Americans, the Democrats, they're.
So Elon Musk posted this. There's a person running for president in Africa who's doing pretty well with the voters, who's definitely explicitly called for white genocide there.
Kill. A revolution demands that at some point there must be killing, because the killing is a revolutionary act.
Yay.
I don't happen in the future. I'm saying to you, we have not called for the killing of white people, at least for now. I can't guarantee the future.
Yeah, but I mean, you'd understand somebody watching that, especially as it gets shared on Twitter, they freak out. It sounds like a genocidal call.
Cry babies.
Calling for the slaughter of white, at least for now.
I can't give you a guarantee of the future, especially when things are going the way they are.
Subtext.
Especially if things are going the way they are, there will be a revolution in this country, I can tell you now.
We are not calling for the slaughter of white people, at least for now.
At least for now.
That means
Jesus.
At some future date, we may call for the slaughter of white people. Is that correct?
Let's deal with that at that future date. I don't know what's going to happen.
So you're saying you are not ruling out that in the future, you may very well call for the slaughter of white people.
It may not be me.
I don't think black people do that.
Could it be you?
It could be me, yes, but it may not be me.
Yeah, so it could be you. You could, at some future date, call for the slaughter of white people.
Shoot to kill. Hamas. Kill the poor.
Christ.
The farmer. Kill the poor. The farmer.
I want to do a Dave Chappelle skit of like juxtaposing this, and then like we'll cut in with like the palest black guy in that stadium just kind of looking around.
How did I get here?
I don't count, do I?
I like this is a neat video that they made of
I always
Biden
hate
plagiarism.
farmers. Why is it always fucking farmers?
No, it's because the Boer War, the Boers, because the
Danish farmers.
The Danish farmers were the Boers, and they, like they were a minority, but they had all the institutional power and
Sure, but
economic power
I'm saying
because they were
every-
successful farmers.
In every revolution, it's like we gotta kill the people
Yeah.
that make our fucking
The
food.
revolutions always
Yeah.
go for the farmers. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because like that thing is like the guy who can successfully feed the most people is the most popular guy around.
Yeah.
That's
Gotta get rid of
natural.
him.
Yeah, and so yeah, like if you're concerned about power structures, then that's the first guy that's got to go.
It's like an animal farm. You gotta get the horsey done. Yeah. But here's a cool little clip of Biden's plagiarisms.
Were it not for the leadership of the NAACP, for the men and women who educated me, when we'd sit over in Reverend Wright's churches. We were talking about desegregating the Rialto and the Queen movie theaters. Remember, Mouse, those days?
Got involved in desegregated movie theaters and helping. You may remember Reverend Moyer in Delaware and Herman Holloway organized voter registration drives, coming out of black churches Sunday, figuring how we were going to move.
I'd go to 8 o'clock mass, and I'd go to Reverend Herring's church where we'd meet in order to organize and figure where we were going to go, whether we were going to desegregate the Rialto movie theater, what we were going to do. I'm serious. I started civil rights movement. I used to go to 7:30 mass, and I'd go to 10 o'clock service with the Reverend who was then running the church. Is now the bishop. She's a bishop.
I was not an activist. I was not out marching. I was not down in Selma. I was not anywhere else.
It is not.
I said it's plagiarism. I guess that was his lies, his civil rights lies. But yeah, she can do.
Oh Jesus, good old Biden.
Who cares? Who cares about none of it? I don't know. I don't have that much more stuff. I guess I was gonna take longer on the Jubilee thing, but yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of a I don't know. It was just dumb. I guess it was wokies doing woke shit and Mormons walking right into the fucking trap, and then a gay dude telling you that you should marry a woman if you're gay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, like I don't know. During the week, I was like, my God, there's so much happening. But when every time we come here, it's like it already just seems so old. But no, that I don't know. The whole John DeLynn, the stalking the gay thing, that really is the whole thing is fascinating. Because first off, is it absolutely? Do we know for sure that the church, like, is that a top-down thing, or is that a local decision that gay married members can take the sacrament now and have callings? And like, did anybody ever actually say like this is the parameters, these are the rules? Like, you can take the sacrament, you know, you can go take out your endowments maybe, but like you can't be gospel doctrine teacher, you know, whatever. I don't know, because like, you know, like, because if the church was really be the church, what they would do is they'd be smart and they do what's best for themselves and piss off the Exmos all at the same time by being like, gays can have callings, they can be choir directors, they can be costume designers, they can be funeral decorators, like, you know,
all
like
the
that's
stuff
what
that they say they want to be if the commie revolution ever happens.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll give them those jobs.
Yeah, no, like we'll give the, like, picking your basketball team, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
did you end up getting the Suicide Squad, Jared?
Oh no, I'm not planning it unless it's like free or something.
Here's Wonder Woman and that.
Yeah.
Is that true? The thing that's true that like they like the, I don't know if that's true, because like I don't know if anything's true anymore because of AI. I didn't know it was true before because of dickheads. But somebody showed this juxtaposed with the actual model. Yeah, and they uglied her.
The model is like pretty good looking.
Oh yeah, no, you should see. Yeah, like, because it's like, and things like, it's like a Pakistani woman of color or whatever, isn't it? Something like that. Do you have that?
I'd have to find it. I'm not gonna be able to find it quickly.
No, but like, yeah, no, like, but like they uglied the computer model from like an actual, like, very attractive fit woman. Like,
wow.
you could have just run with it, but no,
well,
they had to.
That's
they
masculinized.
I literally think like they masculinized her. Yeah.
They seriously, you can find other instances of them taking a pretty attractive woman and making her slightly ugly. Oh, this is great.
Yeah, there's the post of when given pictures of thirst traps, AI imagines what could have been if they'd been raised by strong fathers.
Oh God.
Oh man. Elon Musk shared this one. Woman shampoo for dry and damaged hair. Man, 6-in-1 shampoo for hair, face, body, carpet, car, and dishes. Yeah.
Here's the thing, like, I think there is a lot of truth to that. Like, soap is kind of soap, isn't it? I don't know.
Did you hear that Shane Gillis is going to be hosting Saturday Night Live? But then they resurfaced the videos again.
Cancel culture
again and again and again. Like did I mean, somebody must have called him up and apologized. Did Lorne Michaels call him up and say, Mr. Gillis, Shane, I'm sorry?
I'm sure they did.
Because also, like, I don't know, Lorne Michaels is fascinating. Because like Lorne Michaels is an interesting cat because I don't know, like, he's respected. He's not liked. It seems like nobody likes him. Like, what I can tell, like, just listening to all the SNL people that talk about their time at SNL, it seems like nobody likes Lorne Michaels, but everybody respects him and understands that it's his show.
Yeah,
and
they just have to
whatever
deal with
success the show ever had is largely due to him. I don't know.
Look at this. Christopher shared this interaction he had with Dan McLellan. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, that's the one I was talking about. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is a classic
that's the one from quite a while ago.
This is where because when we talk about like that thing that James Lindsay said, like people who think that it's all just word games, but some people think that they should be allowed to play the word games, and this is.
There is no
smoking
Judeo-Christian worldview, and there is no single creation of humanity in the Bible, or even a single God of the Bible. These concepts are negotiated, and negotiation here is driven by a desire to structure power to serve right-wing authoritarian identity politics. Christopher says, so is this concept. Yes, concepts are negotiated. The difference is that I'm adequately informed, I'm prioritizing the data, and I'm challenging rather than promoting right-wing authoritarianism and social dominance orientation.
The lady of the lake touched him, and now he is adequately informed.
Right-wing authoritarianism is just
It's left-wing
objectively wrong.
authoritarianism and social dominance orientation.
Yeah, no, he just copies the whole thing. It's like, yeah, no, like he says it right here. Like, yes, we are all making it up, but I am doing it because I think I'm smarter and better than you, and I think that the left wing should have authority and dominance over the right. That's what you think. Like, yeah, you're a fucking communist. We already knew that. Like, just stop playing hide the ball, you creep. That's our message to Dan McLellan.
Rolling Stone uses the term 4chan chuds.
4chan
chuds use AI to clothe her. She fought back.
She like
they don't
this is one of those like classic BPD things of feminism. It's like, don't sexualize us. How dare you unsexualize us? Like, all right, it's just that thing like that home math just says. Like, okay, what do you want? Which one do you want? What do you want? Yeah, I hate you. Don't leave me. But what do you want? What's it gonna be?
I think they maybe I have the video here of the Lotus Eaters. Like they pulled up some of the videos of the. Here it is.
We've made a lot of predictions about AI on the show, and some of them came true. Some of them haven't come true yet. Doesn't mean they're wrong.
So here's. They added clothes to the wet ass pussy video. They put extra clothes on that one. They took who's this rapper? I forget this rapper's name.
Oh, Takeshi 69.
Yeah, and they cleared off all his tattoos and hair colors and all that stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just taking mumble rapper degenerates and making them respectable people.
Yeah. They take a they put her back to normal. Who had to wear normal? And then they go like doing stuff like put like full dresses on them and that sort of stuff. It's kind of, you remember the Mormon bubble mode thing or whatever?
Yeah, the bubble porn.
It's almost like the opposite. Like they're making them all attractive. What's the word? Yeah. They put dresses on them instead of their thirst trap butts or something like that. Full dress instead of bikini. They're making a Muslim. Oh Lord. Lord Almighty.
The other thing is like what cracks me up about like because like that image of AI image of Muslim lady, because like the whole burqa, like the burqa is the burqa. There's nothing sexy about that, but it's funny because like in the like less stringent things, and it's also like I brought it up before about that Orthodox Jewish lady and her wigs and all that stuff. It's funny like how all of these women from like the most legendarily sexist religions have like they still somehow find a way to be sexy. Like in Mormon girls too. Like when I like 10, 15 years ago, I lived on Capitol Hill, and like there's a whole stretch of housing up there, which is where the sister missionaries lived for the temple missionaries. And then also like they were always having like, ladies conferences, all this crap. And it's just like, and I'd drive home and like, this is like, and I'd been out of the church for 15 years, but I'm like, God damn it. Mormon women look good, like, oh, yeah. And I mean, and yeah, like they do their hair and all that stuff. It's like, so modesty, schmodesty, like women know how to be sexy when they want to be. And they know how to work around whatever dumb patriarchal shoulder covering rules. Like, you fucking Mormon girls know, like, you pick the right dress, you do your hair right, you're basically Mormon porn already. And like, and good job, like, you know, genuine props. Like, that's a neat trick. Like, I don't know how to dress myself. I'm always impressed by people who can do it, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like, like this is like, I don't know. And again, this is where I like the whole feminist lose because like I'm complimenting you ladies. Like when you do a good job looking nice,
How
to try
dare
to
you
attract men,
compliment us?
it works.
How dare you
I'm not
compliment
doing
us and
it
not
for
want us
you.
nude?
Yeah.
How dare you not want us nude all the time?
Like now, like I didn't park my car and then go caveman on you. I drove home and moved on with my life. But like, no, it works. It works, ladies. So there you
So
go.
then they go putting like respectable suits on famous pornish pictures.
Way back like 1998 when I worked at the airport, and I always asked people what they thought of Salt Lake City. And it was funny because like the top comment is that it's a very clean city. The second comment is the women here all have great hair.
Yeah.
Like literally, those were the two things. It's like, because that's the exact Mormon chicks, they have great hair. It's a thing, and I guess it's because they can't show their shoulders, so they have to compensate with great hair. Sucks to be them.
It's so funny that people took all this stuff to go. Dude. Goofy people. Anyway, it really upset that other lady, and Rolling Stone called them all chuds for it. Boo. We saw earlier that Kurosawa might be making or they're making a remake of Kurosawa with
They're remaking High and Low. Like, I don't.
Denzel Washington and
because first off, like Kate,
Spike Lee.
There's no. You can't remake Kurosawa. You can't do that. Kurosawa is Kurosawa. Like, you can't remake Kubrick. You can.
Well, didn't they kind of remake
him.
Kurosawa with what was the
Like-
country one? Like there's a country one that was kind of copying Seven Samurai.
The Magnificent Seven.
And Denzel Washington was even already in the remake of that one.
Yeah,
But
because
nobody
that thing's
cared
like,
about
so
it or called
it's
it
one thing that
Kurosawa.
like, because I think you can remake the story, but the thing is like the story isn't Kurosawa. Like High and Low, that nothing about that story is original to Kurosawa. Just Kurosawa is a goddamn filmmaking super genius. So that's why the whole thing was like, oh, we're remaking High and Low. It's like none of that makes sense. Like, okay, no, you're making a movie about class struggle or whatever, a juxtaposition of a nation coming out of war and into industrial economics powerhouse, whatever you want to call it, right? Okay, that's that story. Like, now, are you going to be imitating Kurosawa? In which case, good fucking luck, and you should give up now. Just don't. Just make your own movie and leave Kurosawa's name out of it. Like,
I just recently rewatched High and Low, and if you ever want to see something of like there's a video on YouTube about like the masterful plotting of stuff in what's the phrase they use for the way people stand blocking, like the
blocking in business.
Kurosawa.
No, Kurosawa's blocking in business is amazing. Like, one thing like I love about Kurosawa, especially juxtaposing it to, and even films of his time, but
A lot of time
especially
last year
now,
looking at-
is how long he will hold on a shot and let the actors act. He lets the scene be the scene. Whereas, like, you watch modern Marvel movies, you're lucky if there's a scene that lasts 6 seconds before a cut happens. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's all these scenes here about how they block the scenes in High and Low, and it's got all this stuff of like the thing going in the background, the guy moving this way and rotating around, and
Like, you don't like, so modern movies, they constantly have to be saying how they feel. Like, you know exactly how everybody feels right now. You don't need to know anything that's going on. You can see all the tension. And like, that's one thing with Kurosawa is like, where he has people looking, like how he puts people in the front and the back, all this framing, everybody's in scene. Oh my God, he's amazing. I don't know how nobody learned how to make movies after watching this guy.
Well, there's so much like brilliance, just like how like a single scene is staged like this. So like you watch the eyes of the person, and it's got like the longer screen, and like what the person sitting outside of the screen right here, what this person means, and then how it draws your eyes to these people and that sort of stuff.
Like this little thing.
Kurosawa this stuff. How did he learn?
The guy is gripping this cloth, and like just that little prop puts so much emotion and tension into him. You know, like
But
it's just these tiny little things that are just so brilliant and perfect.
This guy sitting behind him is like the corporation or the people who are hoping on like the money for the shoe business, like leaning on his back right there. You know.
Yeah, no, like, that's the other thing. Like this movie that's so great is that the whole thing is set up as an argument about shoes and should we make cheap shoes or should we make quality shoes? And it goes on and on and on and on, and yet you're like just enthralled by the whole thing because it's just such.
Well, but
I love
Kurosawa. What the thing is this guy is kind of like his helper, and somebody tried to kidnap his like the rich CEO guy's son.
Yeah.
And they made a mistake and kidnapped the non-rich guy's son.
Yeah.
And it just kind of plays out that kind of something like they're gonna like upend the business and send all this money to save my son because all my money's here. And then like, oh, it turns out it's the driver's son. And
the whole setup is that like
the
guy in the middle, Toshiro Mifune, is the guy in the middle, and he's like this guy. He's like, I think his dad started the company. He's like the main guy, but not the only guy. And he wants to make expensive quality shoes with a low profit margin and think long term. And everybody else is like, no, let's make cheap shit and make money in the short term. And they have this whole like philosophical back and forth about what's right or wrong. And then Toshiro Mifune goes, haha, while we've been having this conversation, I've emptied all of my savings and I've bought every one of you fuckers out. Meanwhile, kidnappers kidnap his kid. His kid is playing cops and robbers with his chauffeur's son. And at one point they say, okay, no, Cowboys and Indians. And so one of them's got a big cowboy hat. At one point they say, okay, let's switch. The kidnappers go after the kid with the hat. They get the wrong guy. And so this is all like just the first 10, 20 minutes that sets it all up, is that like the people kidnap the kid expecting a ransom. There's no money for a ransom.
Like, we're sending the ransom. Get the money. Get the stuff out.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's the other kid. Like,
But yeah, and meanwhile, like, there's no money anyway. Like, yeah, and it's just all perfect and brilliant, and all the scenes and the wonderful. I'm like this is the thing that blows my mind is like movies that I've watched in the last 2 years that made $1 billion and I can remember nothing from. Last time I watched High and Low was at least a decade ago. And that scene of the one of the criminals, the junkie in the phone booth, as the train rattles by and you see the rich guy's house all the way up on the hill past all of this stuff. And it's just all perfect, just an unbelievable filmmaking, all these little points. And this stuff sticks with you in a way that like modern movies they just go in my brain, and I'm like, and it's like, and I don't even hate them. I just go, okay, like they pass through you like a Taco Bell burrito.
Oh, that's a Marvel movie. That's they're just kind of nothing.
I shared in the comments the link to the video about the masterful blocking of it, how he draws your eyes around and that sort of stuff. The guy's insane. But if Spike Lee goes and makes it, how much is this going to be in there? Denzel would do good as the actor.
Yeah,
I don't think he would.
Well, like, see, that thing's like Spike Lee producing a movie with Denzel that's like on the themes of High and Low. Everything about that sounds fine, but like we're remaking Kurosawa. I'm like, oh dear, no. Yeah, Ran is Kurosawa. Yeah, Ran is King Lear by Kurosawa with samurais instead of whatever the fuck Shakespeare was talking about.
Did it flash out a little bit?
I don't know.
I had it go computerized just for a second there. But anyway, we'll have to watch that. Kurosawa. Ran is Kurosawa. Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely watch.
What's that?
Because Troy's like, I've never heard of this movie, but like, because I'm trying to remember the details. Because back when we would do fancy movie night, and it was funny because like there was some kind of weird thing where like you would always come over and we would try to watch fancy movies, and like I can't remember how did it go. Like there was some kind of reverso thing. Oh, that's right. Because like we'd always watch these garbage movies, and you would like just be whatever, you didn't care. And then like the one day when I'm like, okay, let's watch a fancy movie, and none of the other people cared. Like when we watched garbage, they'd be into it, but you were the only guy who was like into the movie. Like you told me, like I can't stop thinking about that movie. Like 2-3 days later, I don't know. There's some kind of weird juxtaposition there that I know that like it doesn't come to me now. Because yeah, I remember like we did. Yeah, well, that's right. That was the other thing. No, that's just the meathead thing. Because yeah, we normally watch turds. Like we intentionally watch terrible, bad movies. But I'm like,
yeah, it was a little bit
right.
like.
Oh no, that's right. Yeah, that was the other thing. Because like the guy who's hosting it was a guy who had a film degree.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and it was funny because like in conversations we'd always talk about movies, but I'm like, well, let's watch some Kurosawa. This is the stuff I like to dork about. But I never got a film degree. And like that was right, like because the host was like, I just can't get into this like legendary film. And you were the guy who was like, my God, I can't stop thinking about this legendary film.
Yeah, it was fun stuff. Troy says he would tune into Fancy Movie Night hosted by Flip. Risto's totally into that stuff too. I'll show you some.
Proud of myself. I'm proud of myself because without any formal training, I stumbled on the Kurosawa blocking thing because in that movie night I'm talking about, I remember I obnoxiously stopped the movie in that scene and I paused it and went on like a 5-minute thing about look at where everybody's standing, where they're looking, all this stuff. And then it was after that I saw all these YouTube clips where people talked about, like, I didn't know the word blocking when I like went on that little rant. I just noticed that like from watching Kurosawa, there was something special about his.
Check out this stuff. Look at these scenes that Kurosawa made using paintings, and people didn't even know that he put the paintings in there.
Is that Dreams?
That's Dreams.
Oh yeah.
Kurosawa puts the actual paintings in the movies, and that's Van Gogh.
Yeah.
There's another one in Dreams by Kurosawa. It's got another Van Gogh painting in it.
I saw Dreams once over 20 years ago, and I need to watch it again because it's a series of shorts. The one in Dreams that really, really sticks with me to this day, like it's just so sad, is that like there's an old Japanese soldier walking, and he's just walking all by himself, and then he starts hearing all this noise, and he turns around, and it's the ghosts of the platoon that he led to their death.
Yeah,
and they're like, "We're just following you, boss," and he's trying to just shake them loose, and it's just incredible stuff. Wonderful.
I know it was in Kubrick too. Kubrick did in Clockwork Orange. There was some Van Gogh in there. I didn't realize.
I didn't know that.
Who's that Polish director? Bergman. I haven't watched very many.
Swedish.
Swedish.
I watched all of my Ingmar Bergman in the like 6 months immediately following the breakdown of my marriage, and so like that's the wrong time to watch Bergman. But I need to revisit it. But.
Well, anyway, I don't have much more to hit. We cleared out all the links.
Do you want a good book recommendation?
Yeah. Oh, it's hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. I have something for this. Boom.
Hey, we're almost like a real show.
Yeah. Jared's degenerate book report.
I need to actually write out the review, but
well, just off the top of your head, tell us all about Jubilee 1984.
Yeah, Jubilee 1984. So if you liked the world of 1984 and how it shows you just the hopelessness of authoritarianism, and it leaves you, there's a lot of mystery. You don't really know much about Big Brother.
When I read that book, the big thing that was always sticking in my mind is, does anyone masturbate? I couldn't stop thinking about it, so go on.
Okay, well, actually, then this book would actually be great for you, because this book, it gets rid of all of that mystery around Big Brother. It makes the entire society seem significantly less intimidating, more like a stringent girls' Christian dorm. And there's so much fucking. Right?
Really?
Yeah, that's 1984, man.
That's what I got from 1984. Yeah,
it's pretty great. So Julia, it's the whole point was this feminist rewrote 1984 from the perspective of Julia, which I was like, that's stupid, because if you do the book any justice, you're just rewriting the same book, because presumably she just went through the same shit that Winston did.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea.
No, because this author fucking hated Winston. Like what are the brilliance of the original book?
A feminist hated a male protagonist?
Well, one of the brilliant parts of the books was that Orwell made Winston very naive and very flawed. Like he had like violent thoughts about women because he's not well adjusted because he was raised in an authoritarian hellhole. And this what she
Patriarchy
reread
made
it.
him bad.
Yeah, this feminist.
Right.
She read the book twice. The second time she read it, she was like, I then realized exactly how much of a misogynist Winston was, and that's what inspired me to write this book. I listened to an interview where she said that. It's like, yeah, Winston is very flawed, and he is naive to think that he could take down Big Brother, and he jumps straight into it. That's kind of the point, you know? But she thinks that that's this novel idea that she picked up on, and she makes Winston not only naive, but fucking dumb. Not only dumb, but she assassinates him in every way that she can. Like the first time they bang, Winston can't get a boner. Like that, she goes into explicit detail about fucking.
They got him emasculated too. It wasn't enough to have a rat in his face and like have his whole world crumble before him. He's also got
Look up Sarah Newman and then look up Robin DiAngelo. They're the same person.
Actually, Sandra Newman, she got in a little bit of woke trouble.
Oh, look at this dude! Like,
wait. I think I recognize the name. She's that lady who like apologized and like took away your book, or.
Well, so her book was, I think it was called Men or something. It was where, and she had to specify this. It was like a world imagined where all of the men just magically disappeared one day. I don't know the plot of the book, but I know that instead of saying where all the men disappeared, she said where all the people with the Y chromosomes disappeared. So clearly she wants to say where all the men disappeared, but she wants to be trans inclusive. It pissed off the trans people. But no, this was like voyeuristic. Like Julia fucked everyone. And she loved fucking. She loved fucking everyone except Winston. Like she hated Winston pretty much. And Winston wasn't even in love with her. That's kind of the whole point of the book, is that like our love is our resistance. You know, I'm in love with you.
Oh
and
my gosh.
Inspires me to, and she
You were saying she looks like D'Angelo, just
no, like look,
she looks exactly like
yeah. Can you A/B those? Like they're the same person.
Oh, for sure.
It's so creepy. I mean, like I get that people can look alike, but seriously, this is weird.
I didn't realize you were actually saying that.
Yeah, no, like that's I think like because I
she
looked
looks
her up. I'm like,
exactly
wait, that looks like Robin DiAngelo.
So what
No, she
were you
tries to-
just
she
saying
tries
on
to-
the?
She fucks everyone. One of the funny parts is that she, like, the whole theory is that she's the honeypot, right? She knew that she was getting Winston caught, and so
she
knew
was-
that there were
She
cameras.
wasn't in on it, but
So they
she
just say that
she was-
for because that was always kind of like
just to clear, she wasn't in on it, but she knew
was.
she was. Oh, she was in on it.
She was in on it. O'Brien got to her first, told her, "Hey, we
Oh.
need you to help catch these guys." And so it was basically this
But
brothel.
there's something that was
where
always
she's
kind of
in the room.
debated is just now for sure that.
Yeah. And so that room that her and Winston were banging in, that was just a room that like she had, and there was a rotation of dudes that she was just fucking. 'Cause she just took miles of dick in this room up there, and it pointed out that she knew where the telescreen was, and she just fantasized about how hot it was to be voyeuristic.
Oh
to
my
make people a porn star,
gosh.
And how hot it was that there were all of these Big Brother agents
This
just
is for
watching her
sure.
and getting a boner watching her fuck all these dudes. Like they go into all of these details about it. Like it's explicit shit. It's funny as hell. And then obviously she gets the rats in the face too. After Winston says, "Give it to her, do it to Julia," she gets the rats in the face.
What
Only
Winston
she-
says that?
Yeah,
That's
the whole like.
That's
his
how they
greatest
break.
fear. That's his greatest fear is rats, and the whole point is that we will break you eventually, and they do.
Yeah.
And he says, "Do it to Julia." And the idea is he sees her after that, and they both are scarred after going through this thing. And it's assumed, at least by me, it was assumed that Julia went through something similar where she faced her greatest fear. But in this book, it explains no. After Winston says, "Do it to Julia," they do it to Julia.
It's just the same rat thing.
Yeah, it's the same rat thing, and then she outsmarts the trap.
I'm surprised they didn't like set it up that like she befriended rats as a child and it's like fucking rat whisperer or something.
So she bit a rat's head off. And
Oh, okay, there you go.
Oh my
because
god!
somebody told her that
This whole thing just pisses me off because like I always read it as like Julia just happened to have the kind of personality that was less susceptible to propaganda. And what would happen in this world if somebody like that is like questioning but believer, meets somebody who is just immune to this shit but knows how to get along to get along. But no, I was wrong. She wanted Miles to Tik. She was unknown it the whole time.
Yeah, no, it ruined her character. And
I feel like Jared really was making this face as he was reading.
No, I know. I'm like at work.
No, like when you were updating
she talks. She has these memories that come out of nowhere that have nothing really to do with the story about growing up, and all of her memories involve fucking someone. One of her first memories is remembering the first time she fingered herself, imagining fucking Big Brother before she properly knew what fucking was. That's the exact wording that it was. And she actually escapes at the very end, like after the torture and everything. She escapes, meets the rebels. They've already captured Big Brother, whose name is what was it, Herbert Pease or something like that. And she
there's an actual Big Brother.
There's an actual Big Brother. And he's old and he has dementia.
This is the type of fan fiction writing that's been tacked onto every single IP that we've ever had out there.
Does the book tell us that Big Brother is old, white, and demented? Does it specify his race? Or is she not that on the nose?
I don't think it says white.
But it's England, right?
I'm assuming he's white. Because I mean they're saying that it's the guy that was actually in the telescreen. Like, because in 1984 they'll have
the actor. Like they have the actor who plays
it's
Big
the actual
Brother.
That's the guy. And I feel like I don't remember the timeline, but I swear to God they've been in this hell state for way too long for a guy to actually still be alive.
But also, I
the
thought
worst thing I've ever heard in my life, except for every other IP that they tried to write for.
I know. It's god awful.
No, and hopefully that most of the sales are assholes like you that are hate reading it. Because I just can't imagine this actually catching on as literature. But I don't know. Like, hopefully this just goes down in history like American Psycho 2. Like, isn't that cute?
Remember when
they did that?
You know that Miguel de Cervantes, Don Quixote, had a sequel that was written by a completely random other person.
Oh yeah,
but that was before people had the copyright of their IPs, so stuff like that would happen way back when. But now we can just do it. We can just pay for it and just have the estate say, yeah, keep doing it, and just have some idiot go and write something.
Risto, I've only seen the trailer for the new Fallout TV show. What else
I haven't
is
even
going
seen
on there?
that.
Because that's the one where it's like,
are they gonna mess that up? Isn't that story good?
Yeah.
It's.
I mean, it depends on which one you play.
Yeah. No, I don't know. When I got introduced to Fallout when my roommate got Fallout 3.
Yeah,
and he's like, you got to check out this game, and you've got to play.
You heard about the Mormon everybody loves in it,
and because the thing is, Fallout 3. The thing that's funny is because you just wake up and you're in this weird vault. Oh, it's a cult, and I was almost disappointed when you leave and go outside, where I'm like, what goes on in this vault is, I think, more interesting, but so I don't know, because that's one of those things where if you wanted to do if you did just a whole story of Fallout where it was based in the vault and nobody leaves the vault, I think that would be good, especially as for writers as a writing experience, to put that constraint on you, because there's always that let's just go outside and we can open this up, where it's no, there's more stories to be told in this crazy situation than once you open up the world and now you can do anything. But I don't know, like anything, I was thinking about the Last of Us show, where it's because a lot of people really hated that. And I didn't hate it. I think it was a good show. They basically did a good job. I couldn't really say fuck you about any of it. Like, there's definitely some of the stuff that seemed kind of shoehorned in, but I don't know. It's like it's hard
Most
to
people
avoid
I
that
talked
stuff.
to liked it, but I just didn't bother watching it because the game was already a movie.
Yeah, no, there's kind of that where it's like, yeah, but
I'm not opposed to them making a show. It just feels pointless.
yeah,
'cause
no,
that-
like so
that's
that's
the
what I'll
deal.
say is the show was fine. The TV show was fine. The video game was a masterpiece. So
yeah.
like that's what I'll say about that. Like if you want to see a masterpiece, don't watch the fucking show. Play the fucking game. If you just want to waste your time and see something decent instead of something wonderful, then yeah, watch the show. Fortunately, like apparently we have more than enough time to consume.
I mostly just consume shit that I don't like, obviously, as made evident by my degenerate book club. It's fucking so I didn't do I need to do the what's it called? I'll have to do one on that polyamory book that I read.
Oh.
The woman that opened her marriage and just fucked everyone, and her marriage is terrible.
Yeah, no, I like that book where it's like, everything went badly. Boy,
I also
glad I did this.
have Jada Pinkett Smith's book, which that one
you really are it drives me nuts because like when I was a teenager, I would stay home from school and literally read books from cover to cover. I have not read a book, I think, in over a decade. Like I still read all the time, but I read the internet. And like, and I just wish I could get back to reading books. And like, here you are reading books, and you're just Jada Pinkett Smith.
So these ones are audiobooks. I have a hard time reading. Like the books that I like, I will read in actual hardcover form. Books that I hate, I get on audiobook and I put them on double time. And because they're so inane that you can catch all of it in double time just fine.
Because I guess I kind of have a little bit of a problem.
I like Troy was asking about the white pill. He asked what I thought about the white pill. I love the white pill. I thought it was great. It's depressing. He probably should have called it something else. But also I like his conclusion. Like the whole conclusion is taking the white pill is not saying that not saying that the good guys always win, but saying that the good guys can win, basically. And
is the white pill just kind of Schopenhauer stuff? I watched a little thing on Schopenhauer the other day, and then
the white pill's just
the next day all I did was I just depressed everybody.
Schopenhauer stuff is more philosophically depressing.
Yeah, white pill is just it's Michael Malice, and he goes over basically the history of the Soviet Union and all of the revolutions, and he sort of juxtaposes the revolutions against each other. And there's some that were bloody and terrible, where people never let go of power, and then there were some that were actually like really interesting to learn about, like peaceful, like the Velvet Revolution, things like that. There was I can't remember the guy's name, but he's pretty cool, from the Czech Republic. What's that guy's name? He owned like a club, and he is very well beloved by the Czech people because he did very well with power. But Michael Malice goes into detail about how about Gorbachev giving up power somewhat voluntarily. Like I don't know. It made me want to learn more about Gorbachev because he seems crazy interesting to me. He was one of those ones that like his grandfather his grandfather was in a gulag, and it was like terrible. And he insisted after he got out of it that Stalin didn't know. Like he still loved Stalin, even though he spent all that time in a gulag and was mistreated and stuff. And it's pretty crazy because it goes through. It would have been history would have turned out scarily different if Beria had maintained power, because Beria was a fucking psychopath, right?
Yeah, that guy was that's a guy who jumped.
Have you
in
watched
here's my chance to
Stalin,
murder
the
people.
TV show? Yeah.
Oh, that one was great. The Death of Stalin was
that.
awesome. And so it's funny because it's not like Nikita Khrushchev was like a great dude, but
compared to Beria.
Yeah.
Beria. Oh, Troy wants
to talk about Ayn Rand. Thing is, because like I know Jared has lots of opinions in his Reddit. Everything I know about Ayn Rand I know from Neil Peart lyrics.
I've only read that shorter story. What was that one? That it was kind of like
Anthem.
a giver. Anthem. Yeah, I haven't read the longer books. I never have.
Troy, you'll have to jump on sometime. We can talk Ayn Rand.
Yeah.
I actually, if you want to talk Ayn Rand with somebody, Jonathan.
The first 10 minutes is how do you say your name, right? Any conversation about
I love. So here's
I heard some.
Ayn Rand will always hold like a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
I think she's nuts in a lot of ways.
You and Neil Peart.
I don't buy into objectivism all the way, but I think that she was combating the exact type of insane altruism that I totally bought into when I was a kid growing up. Like, I remember having this insane crisis for most of my life, trying to discover like how you can actually do a virtuous act. I was like, there's no way you can be virtuous, because the only way to be virtuous is to do something truly selfless. And there's actually no way to do that. Because even if I go out and die for somebody right now, I'm just doing that to be a virtuous person. So it's self-serving, and it's just this hell spiral. And so there's a lot of things that Ayn Rand says that bring you back to reality, but also she was very damaged person.
Yeah. Well, like what I think is funny is because like Neil Peart, obviously, like he dedicated a lot of his like lyrics to the genius of Ayn Rand, and like he wrote that song called Red Barchetta, and it's about a dystopian future in the middle of the 21st century when internal combustion engines are illegal, and like California, there's a law on the books that will make selling.
That's one of the things that'll make you. That's one of the things that'll make you gain some respect for Ayn Rand. Because the first time I started reading through Atlas Shrugged, some of the bills that are introduced by the people, you're like, that's just stupid. Yeah, and then the more time goes on, the more you're like, oh no, what?
Yeah, but like yeah, but like like literally, like we already in the place where like California has passed a law that like what is it like by 2030, 2027, something like that. It'll be illegal to sell or purchase a newly built internal combustion engine and register it in California, something like that. It's like, yeah, so like that ridiculous fantasy song from 1980, like, no, we're there,
I will say Ayn Rand's views on romanticism are just god awful.
Yeah, no, like she can tell, like, yeah, you get the idea that she was just a nasty, mean old lady.
Like, if you want to have a good conversation about Ayn Rand, talk to Jonathan too. He's read just as much as I have, and he likes her quite a bit.
Yeah, interesting. But I get the feeling that like that's things. I think the people who hate Ayn Rand hate her for reasons that are imaginary. They have Ayn Rand derangement syndrome.
Yeah, like
I think there's plenty to be critical of, but like there's some like basic fundamental shit that she just keeps hammering home, and that's what they don't like. Like I think one of the reasons they don't like Ayn Rand is that Ayn Rand says like, no, merit matters, like competency matters. And like Jordan Peterson always talks about that, like the left hates competency. Like they are suspicious of, angry of, they do not like it when people are competent.
Well, do you remember the backlash around The Incredibles when it came out?
I don't, because I barely everything I know about comic book movies I learned from Red Letter Media.
Okay, so go back and watch. People have accused Brad Bird of being an objectivist for quite a while, and part of that is because there's the Iron Giant he did, where that line that he tells the Iron Giant, and he tells the Iron Giant, "You are what you choose to be. Now choose." And the other one is The Incredibles. Brad Bird did that one, and the whole idea is
everybody's incredible, nobody's incredible.
Yeah, well, there's these exceptional people, the superheroes, and they're sort of bogged down by the normies who eventually make it illegal to be a superhero. And then, yeah, you've got Syndrome, who's trying to, ironically,
have you read this, Harrison Bergeron?
No, I never read it.
It's a real short story, but look at the very first line here. The year was 2081, and everybody was finally equal. They weren't only equal before God and law, they were equal every which way. Nobody was smarter than anybody else. Nobody was better looking than anybody else. Nobody was stronger or quicker than anybody else. All this equality was due to the 211th, 212th, and 213th Amendments to the Constitution, and to the unceasing vigilance of agents of the United States Handicapper General.
Wow.
It's a good story. It has a lot of stuff like if your IQ is too high, they make you wear earbuds that buzz off.
Oh, it's Kurt Vonnegut. I should have realized. Oh, wow. I like that it's in French, Hindi, Russian, and Urdu.
Yeah.
It's an interesting hodgepodge.
Yeah,
of
read
languages.
Harrison Burgon. It's a short story. It's good.
Like fuck Spanish speakers.
I think Jonathan
Urdu.
showed me once there was somebody who made like a little short movie or short story of Harrison Burgon.
No, like that's a name I've always heard. I never even connected that to Kurt Vonnegut. I was just thinking about Slaughterhouse-5. That's a movie they keep talking about making. But has anybody made one?
Oh,
I feel like
never mind. Don't
somebody
make it
must have-
today.
Did I just speak a Slaughterhouse-5 movie into existence?
Oh man, it's gonna be like done by Oprah, and it's all gonna be teenage girls. I was actually really mad
There was the
that she made
1972. Has anybody seen the 1972 Slaughterhouse-5? I've never seen it.
I was mad that they remade and messed up A Wrinkle in Time. I loved A Wrinkle in Time. A Wrinkle in Time is actually a very good story about not having a groupthink and all that sort of stuff. They go to a planet where there's a hive mind brain that takes over all the brains of the people, and you have to get out of it with love.
Huh.
But they turned it into an Oprah movie.
Slaughterhouse-5 for free on YouTube.
Troy had a high school English teacher that looked just like Ayn Rand. You're gonna watch the 1972 Slaughterhouse-5?
I can't find. I was looking to see.
Imagine being introduced by a public school teacher to Ayn Rand. That's so insane. What a different.
They'd probably get arrested
world
now.
you and I have lived in.
Yeah, so long ago. No, because like
I'm lucky enough that my teacher introduced me to The Hobbit.
my high school English teacher introduced us to PETA, to Sea Shepherd, to no, and I love her. Like I love her. She's an amazing lady. But like I got all of my fucking hipster woke bullshit leftist education from her and teachers like her. But yeah, like no, it's like yeah, like I had high school English projects that were literally based on PETA and Sea Shepherd propaganda material. I argued those. They're like I remembered. Like I made her cry. Oh, that's right. Like, I made her cry one day. No, I just remembered that like because I made her cry because I talked.
90% chance he said something autistic. Go.
This is totally autistic because like I was talking about how like I was saying something about like somebody would talk about snails and I said like yeah like last summer my dad put out snail poison and my backyard looked like Snail Gettysburg and she said like oh when I find snails I just put them in the garbage and I'm like well why and she's like well so that way like they just go on a ride and then they have a place to live. I'm like Judy, because like I went to alternative high school where we called our teachers by first name. It's like Judy, like they're crushed. Like the truck crushes all the garbage. And her eyes got big, and I realized like she didn't know.
Oh, man,
she didn't know. And I'm like Judy, like yeah, like would you put them in the garbage? Like they just get smashed. And she started.
What
crying.
did you think was gonna happen?
Oh,
yeah,
no.
like, and she just had this idea. It's like, oh no, they just go to snail paradise. Like,
oh my god,
like no, they get smashed, lady. Poor Judy.
Look at this. I just saw this AI art. They're doing so much stuff with AI art nowadays. Check this out. Oh goodness. Which one is it? I got too many Facebooks open. Was Alice just a bad hairdo and she was otherwise a hottie?
Wow.
Wow.
That's incredible. Man, I want to see you do that to all the Frumps.
Yeah, I wonder if I go back in time and take all the curly haired old ladies that I just associated with oldness and put that on them. I'm like, whoa, bunch of MILFs back in the day, man.
I mean, there's a lot less fatties, I guess. So
yeah.
That's damn sure.
You want to? Okay, wait, hang on. I got a funny thing. Let me see if I can find it real fast. This made me laugh. I don't. So this was a school board meeting, and they're debating the use of a book. And I don't know what book it is, but this.
Oh, was it the guy?
It was, and I found the full video. So I'll share it in the group chat.
Here, while you're getting there, here's some merit badges that
Oh yeah.
Oh wait. First, here's the video of what I'm talking about. Drives me
I
crazy.
know,
The
this
dang
is
gym.
hilarious. Like, I
Drives
don't
me
know
so
how you
crazy.
do this. Like, what is like if that's not
They're
that guy,
urinals, man.
like
Stair climbers are urinals. Don't do this. Look at all those stair climbers down there. You broke a urinal rule, man.
that's
Anyway, there's a
amazing.
Jared merit badge. I think you have to read one degenerate book to get that. There's the Chris merit badge. You have to find one autistic hero in the wild. There's Flip. You gotta drink a bunch of booze without getting drunk at all and describe the flavors of all of them. And there's Kevin. You just gotta look glamorous.
It's got to look good and be productive and have a happy family.
Build a deck.
Build a deck. Here we go.
Can we put a caption under Kevin that says "Show me your deck"?
Our area. It doesn't matter. It does matter. I mean, that's what happens. That's the process. It doesn't work like that. I represent every small.
Fucks up.
Good evening, cowards. Rick Hubbard, 97 Spruce Lane. Nice to see you. A bunch of fat, ugly women. They're fat, ugly women is what they are. You don't have to buy. It's called free speech. Buy.
That's not free speech.
Okay, everybody, stop. Let Mr. Hubbard speak, please. Enough. Go ahead, Rick.
And we wonder why children are retarded stupid today. We wonder why. We wonder why when we have these pathetic people here called teachers rape the children's mind. And if you people are too stupid to know what rape is, it's called control, you morons.
Are you speaking directly to the book?
Yes, I
Because
am.
okay, talk
Back into your ears. Imagine
Just
that.
on the book, please, because that's what Citizens Forum is
I'm
about.
talking about the book.
Okay.
I'm talking about the stupidity of the people who want the book in the high school. That's what I'm talking about.
Retarded.
We have in our community.
I don't
The
know that we need
abject
to allow this kind of
Yeah,
abusive
this is
speech.
abusive.
I'm not aware of what the
Abusive speech.
process is,
Please,
but I
go ahead
I
and
think we have
violate
a
my
right to
constitutional
stop
rights.
this
I
kind of
dare
abuse.
you.
Well,
That's not very
Dare
nice.
you
say
violate
something.
my constitutional rights. Go ahead.
Would you please
Okay.
say something specific about the book so that we can let you continue speaking rather than making these generalities?
Can I get there?
Fast, really fast.
No, there's no fast. You
I'm
don't tell
saying
me how to
fast.
speak.
Excuse me?
You don't tell me how to speak.
Well, yeah,
Be
I am
quiet.
telling
Give me
you.
my
I'm
5
telling
minutes.
you how to speak in this situation. Yeah.
Shut up and give me my
Point
5
of order.
minutes.
I'd like to propose a recess.
Sit down, please.
I'd like to
What?
propose
My
a
5
recess.
minutes.
This is the Longhouse,
No,
folks.
don't
You're in the
interrupt. This is the
Longhouse.
This is my constitutional
Dr. Meader,
right to
point of
speak,
order.
and
I'd
you
like to
ugly
propose a
people don't
recess.
like
This
it.
is unacceptable.
Ugly people.
I propose a recess.
Oh, cowards.
Okay. Do I have a motion to
Yeah.
recess?
I move to recess.
They are
All in favor of
cowards.
recessing?
Just let him talk. What's
Maybe
the worst
sit
thing you
down
can
and
do?
Take a breath.
No.
He's allowed to talk
Okay,
for
then
5
you can
minutes.
continue
You
speaking,
people
but
are
we're
stupid.
recessing.
Imagine like taking seriously the words they're waiting
They cut.
they took a recess and then they come back.
You sure?
2 minutes and 51 seconds.
2
I'm
minutes and
keeping
50.
time.
It's almost.
Oh, how they
That-
said like the NFL now with the clock.
Is that through the interruptions from these clowns here? Does that include that, or are you going to give me back
You
that
know
time?
what? Let's give him a full 3 minutes.
Ooh, wow.
Oh,
7
9 more
seconds.
seconds.
Yeah.
Thanks,
I
lady.
think that was 9.
Okay, thank you.
They could have been done with them already.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Is this
I think they
okay.
know that there is a
So,
constitutional
I
issue
was
here.
going on that I don't believe you clowns are helping the citizens of the city of Dover. See, what happens is, and I've been looking at this for quite a while now, and it's so ugly and true. It's really gross. See, what happens is teachers teach children, okay? And then those children grow up and they have brains. And then adults with brains, I'm getting there. You calm down now, calm down.
I'm calm. I'm just trying to get you to
Don't
the
interrupt
point.
me. You're interrupting me again.
Sorry.
Thank you. Now give me 15 seconds.
No.
Oh, good.
Whatever. Keep going.
Okay. So these children grow up and become adults. And now they're just as stupid as they were taught, right? Or just as smart as they were taught. And so what happens is we all become dumber and dumber and dumber. And we don't even have the brains right now in our society to see that this book is not worthy to be where it is. I've heard a lot of people talk about sexual assault, but I haven't heard anybody say that they were.
What is the book? Do you know?
I have no idea. I looked through the comments. I tried to find it. I couldn't.
Take it easy.
But anyway, there's a difference between people talking about it and people who have been through it. Okay? So when you go through it, you know what the difference is and where up is up and down is down and left is left and right is right and wrong is wrong. And you people are dumb people. You're not smart enough to know that you should take this book out and put it in the, potentially put it in the regular library.
And you're the pinnacle of intelligence.
You have 1
You
minute.
You said put it in the library?
Shell.
In the regular library. I think they're just arguing over whether it goes in a school library or a regular
So
one.
anyway, that's why we have a bunch of morons in front of us today, because they grew up being taught by stupid people and communist people and indoctrinating people. That's why you people don't have the brains to see that this could be hurting children of the future.
I think I found the book.
who
I
are
found
gonna
the
grow
thing.
up and be
Did
just
ya?
as dumb as you people. Probably
you.
dumber.
Thank you.
Probably
Do I have any
dumber.
more time left?
You have 21 seconds.
So there's nothing that's going
Oh.
to change here. You communists are going to do what you do, and the public is just going to pay the price. That's all. And at some point, the tide's going to change, and then you people are going to be extinguished. That's all. That's what happens.
Time.
Yeah, we're all extinguished.
Thank you.
Thank
That's
you.
your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, communists.
Thank you, communist. What's the book? If you found
The
it?
book is, I think the book is Boy Toy.
Oh my
Oh
god.
God.
The book from the New York Times, Children's Books, book review. New York Times book review, Children's Books, Transgressions. Barry Lyga's new novel, Boy Toy, takes one of the more uncomfortable themes of young adult literature, a sexual relationship between an adult and a minor, and pushes it past the genre's farthest boundaries. This is an upsetting, intense, intricately drawn portrait of the fallout from a 12-year-old boy's involvement with a 7th grade teacher.
What? And
Like, it goes on.
It's an
Like,
actual
so-
pedo book.
Yeah, so
Oh,
like,
God.
man, it's just funny, like, because like I know that like all of the like lefty normie moms think that the book is like why you should be nice to people who are different. You should always be nice to people who are different. You shouldn't treat people different people differently. Like, this is really what they imagine these books are. No,
You know-
it's a
you know, my
fucking book
mom-
about a fucking pedophile.
And
Yeah,
if I
my mom
basically
taught
read
me
it, it
that.
gets really explicit.
My mom taught me that in about 10 words without actually having to show me diagrams of butt sex.
Oh my god.
See, like, here's the thing, like, so because I found the like the application, I guess, form for reconsideration of instructional material. Request initiated by Julie P. And like then they redact personal information themselves. I don't know. I thought this was the guy. I don't think it is. But it's like, yeah, please answer the following questions in either space provided or additional pages. Have you read or been able to discuss the resource with the teacher or librarian who ordered it or used it? Sorry, there's no read there. Have you been able to discuss this resource with the teacher? No. Did you read the entire book or review the material? Yes. What do you believe is the theme or purpose of this work? And this is funny. It's a handwritten form I'm looking at. Pedophilia.
Oh my god.
To what particular contents do you object? Please be specific. Cite pages or passages. See excess points. Sexual relations between teacher and 13-year-old boy. What is good about this book material? NA. What do you feel might be the result of reading this book or using the material? Absolutely nothing good. For what age group would you recommend this work? 18 and up. All right, this is
Oh
a
my
member of the
God.
public. This is a member of the public filling out the paperwork to object for the book. Are you aware of the professional reviews of this work? Yes. Are you aware of the instructional purpose for using this work? No. What would you prefer the school do with this work? Withdraw it from all students.
Oh my
What work
God.
of equal value would you recommend to replace the next one? Whatever. Yeah. Like,
Okay.
wow.
Why
We're
is it that
already,
you
like-
don't want a bunch of kids that are around teachers all
wow,
day
this
to
is
have
amazing.
access to a book where a kid that's around a teacher all day fucks him? Jesus.
Let's see.
That's
Oh my
the
God,
worst
no.
case scenario.
So there's an attachment of a multi-page typewritten document, many pages long, with long sections of highlighted material from the book in this application. Wow, I'm just gonna send you guys this link.
That's unreal.
Yeah, no, it's like this is.
book club, I guess.
There you go. Look at that. It's amazing. Like, it's just amazing, and like I'm not even a journalist at the Salt Lake Tribune. Like, I don't even have. I'm not even being paid to do this thing that I just did, where I went. And
If you
found
were a
these
journalist, you
documents.
would have found out that it was totally cool. Fine, nobody look over here. Did you know the Republicans somehow once complained about? I don't know what.
Here's the first highlighted
Monster.
section. The first highlighted section. Quote: "Listen to me very carefully," she said on the way. "What we did was fine. We care about each other, and when people care about each other, they kiss. You know that, right? I was a little annoyed. I wasn't a baby, yes, but you know I could get in trouble for it, right? I mean, I could lose my job. I could go to jail." Her fingers strummed on the steering wheel. "I know. So I know I've said this before, and you can't tell anyone what we've talked about or what we did, okay? Uh-huh. Promise me, Josh. Promise me you'll never tell anyone." Yeah, this is appropriate
What the
classroom material.
fuck?
I know, like, there's literally, I'm not exaggerating. You can look at this, pages of this shit. Yeah, no, like, yeah, it's just funny. Like, okay, yeah, tell me, like,
It only took
again,
a few
like,
seconds
this is
for
one of
her
those
to
things where,
navigate
like,
the fly of my boxers, and then her fingers were on me directly. I saw explosions of light against my eyelids as my eyes squeezed tightly shut.
There you
Before I
go.
knew it,
There
She
you
had me out in the open and broke our kiss.
The next day on her sofa, she did something different. She fished out my fly and then, to my astonishment and complete disbelief, leaned down and took me into her mouth.
Oh my gosh.
These are seventh graders! I thought my eyes would melt out of their sockets. Oh my God!
A perfect triangle of naked flesh that included one breast. I'd seen Zix magazine, of course, and I'd seen the Happy Trio, and I'd seen R-rated movies at Zeal's house, but I'd never in my life been within arm's reach like this. And this, she asked in a hussy voice, "Do you like this?" There was only one answer, but I had no voice with which to give it. "Come here," she said, putting her arms around me again, her hands at my neck, and pulling me toward her, pulling my head down, pulling my mouth to her.
Jesus.
It goes on.
She taught me how to make love. She taught me how to fuck. And she
Don't
taught
say
me
gay.
the difference.
No, don't say gay. Remember, it's all about don't say gay. That's what we're fighting for, is the right to say gay.
We ended up doing more to the latter than the former.
I'm actually pretty fine with this book. It hasn't said gay yet, so I don't know what you guys are freaking out about. This is just heterosexual pedophilia.
It's amazing how they got around DeSantis's "Don't Say Gay" bill by just saying, like, "Oh, she took me into her mouth," but she didn't say gay.
Thank God.
Oh my
Took
god.
me into her mouth like a gay.
There's more of it down there.
Oh
Unreal.
man.
I was thinking that
Oh,
guy
yeah,
was
there you
probably
go.
a little bit crazy, but no, he
I was molested when I was 12. He fucked my wife, Georgia Will.
Yep, there you go. Like, I mean, yeah, it's just like, and I know this is just like 1 out of 10 bajillion examples of this kind of thing, and like, and every day on Facebook, on NPR, they're going to talk about banned books, and they're going to pretend like they don't know what the objections are. Like, because that's things like, if they want to defend those books, like, you know, because for example, like, I will defend Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, even though it has objectionable themes, but I'll make the fucking argument that should be in the libraries. And like, and at an appropriate age, I can make the case for we should teach that. Like, this is culturally important stuff. Like, if they want to make the case for that book and its contents, let's hear it. But they don't.
Tell me what
They
you
fucking
got.
lie through their goddamn teeth about what we're even talking about. Don't say gay. Don't say that my fucking 7th grade teacher blew me. That's the law.
Jesus fuck. That's
Well, then half of them have the drawings too with them. So.
Yeah.
It's funny how they're like, hey, why don't you want us to say gay? It's like, no, look, I'm trying to get rid of a book that has actual pedophilia in it. How come when I say no pedophilia in books in elementary schools, you automatically think of gay people?
Yeah, things like, hey, what's up with gay people? It's a sexuality. It's a private thing. Some people are gay, some people aren't. It's not important to what we're doing in school today. Okay. Meanwhile, let's read Boy Toy. Today we're reading in like what class? Like I want to know like what's the public school 7th grade class where they're reading Boy? Is that English?
We mentioned it last week, but like right in the middle of all this stuff, like they released that movie, Call Me by Your Name, and that movie's just 100% about like an underage boy getting down with like a older 20-something college student guy, and it all the awards that year, and you're just like, what are you guys doing? Like you're saying this isn't what you're doing, yet here you are just rewarding it out in the open, like just the gaslighting that goes on with stuff.
I know that's the other thing, like because like especially like I just imagine like when I spring into my mind trying to talk to someone like my brother about this. Where like step one is like it's not even real, and so I link him to the New York Times book review. 2008 is when they reviewed this, but everybody was like, "What are you even talking about?" Like, I don't see this stuff. Fucking liars!
Oh, man, I just noticed there's a Zelf on the Shelf review of the.
Yeah, I didn't get time to see it because I watched the other ones.
What's it a review of?
That reviewed the
Jubilee
Jubilee
thing.
theme.
Oh, well, and we got some fodder for next week.
Oh my gosh, look at this. They start right off with the leukemia thing. Right off the bat.
I figured they would.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
that's the big dumb thing. So
if Cart's gonna tee him up, you can't fault people for swinging at him.
Well, I don't know. Like they're starting like right at the point that he's crying. I mean, it pulled on the heartstrings of the bishop.
That I wouldn't trade a little bit of Timber's gayness for 20 years.
That's not even on the table.
That's not even such an insane hypothetical.
I didn't even catch that, but like that's like a I didn't even catch that the first time, but that's like a total bar thing. It's like, would you blow a dude for one more year of life? like okay, here's like so like first blowjob.
That is kind of funny because like in the question, it's like no, Carden, I would not like to be
because like also like what if there's like it's the thing. It's like so the first blowjob is 1 year, the next blowjob is 6 months, the next blowjob is 3 months. Like how many blowjobs will you give to completion until you're like, nope, that's not worth more life?
I don't know. You blow a dude a month and you're effectively immortal. Maybe it wouldn't be fun. You'd be like every month they're gonna be like, oh sorry guys, I gotta blow that genie, and they'd be like, why are you blowing the genie?
Can I trade gayness for cancer?
Take a little bit of your gayness, you take a little bit of my cancer. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's not that big of a deal to want to get butt fucked.
All righty,
here it is. You're getting offered
peace ceremony.
How can I make you trust me?
How can I live longer?
I remember the first time we met.
Yeah, I'm gonna get dinged for some this one.
The tables are turned.
This is how you get extra life.
Just right. I'll trust you. But only if you will perform oral sex on me.
I can't show that much of it. I'll get in trouble. Anyway. Let's take off. Let's cruise. I hope I don't get dinged for like the last 3 seconds of this freaking thing.
Oh, that'd be
anyway.
Yeah. Like, that's like it would make sense that YouTube would shut us down for discussing Boy Toy, but not a public.
We had a lot of cancelable stuff tonight. We really did, honestly.
Yeah.
So, maybe we'll all get
Mormon
kicked off
heaven
of our,
screwing Jews.
We'll get kicked off of our Saturday Night Live.
Go figure. Somebody have
Alrighty.
something to do.
None of us are gonna make Saturday Night Live at this rate, man. All right, not for the fun. We're not gonna be invited. A video will surface.
They're gonna be like,
New
one of us is
videos
gonna
will
be
surface.
like, one of us will be potentially hired, and then they'll dig into our past and be like, we found this thing where they made fun of pedophiles, so we're gonna have to say no on that. That's a protected class.
I'm at a point like I hope I get like famously canceled once I'm famous, and I want to put out the apology, but I just want to take like Dylan's apology word for word and just put it out. Like, no matter what's even just going on at all, just put it out exactly like that. Like, here's my apology. And like,
sorry, pasta.
It just doesn't even make sense. Like why you dropped it in there.
We should start doing that. It's like Dylan apology pasta.
Yeah.
Oh man.
We can make.
Alrighty.
All right.
Everybody watch a Kurosawa movie. That's your homework.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
All right. Later.